Hajimashitenchi, sorry for the hold up. Time to keep on going. Bit more to clear out. Okay. Oh, right, they started this event, but it's not going to be fully available until Wednesday, so not yet. Right. Some of these. Also, there is that funny treasure rock that should lead to a cave. There's also a calm right here. Guess I'll deal with that right now. Yep, right by the challenge I accidentally did. Alright. Oh, hi. Refight. This part is still actually Kawatapek Mountain, funnily enough. Okay, I'll just jump right over. Yeah, so I should come and get that Pyroculus when I go over it and go back over the island, I suppose. Thank you. It's nice and generous. Okay. And here we are. Nice. I think I will go into a cave right now to see what might have changed with it. We'll see. So this was a matter of giving a guy rocks in order to have him, quote-unquote, feed them to the stone. Who knows, really? Oh, and what do you know? We got some crystals this time, and it's literally just... Well, it's Condescence crystals. We gave him normal crystals, but traded 3 precious type crystals for 3 Condescence crystals. Hello, Kispy. What do you look at that? It's done it again. They're even better than before. Still feels pretty magical, despite the fact that we've seen it twice now. Haha, weary outlanders. Now that you've seen it for yourselves, you can no longer deny the greatness of the treasure stone. So what is he going to demand from us this time? Money? Ah, and thanks to the rocks you brought, the treasure stone's powers have grown even stronger. Who knows how powerful it might become? Now that you mention it, even Paimon's starting to feel curious. All you have to do is feed it rocks, and it creates even better ones for you. But how does that even work? Why don't we crack it open and take a look inside? And this is what we'll get in the cave. How I could even suggest such a thing? Now I shall not allow it. If you're seriously planning on cracking it open, you'll have to step over my cold, dead body first. Oh, that was just a throwaway comment. Well, considering that you rotted all those rocks before, I'll let your impudence slide just this once, okay? I can feel it, huh? If I can just feed the treasure stone some even higher quality rocks, I'm certain it'll produce something incredible. Maybe. Ascension gemstones? Traveler from far, a foreign merchant once told me you have a special type of stone from the desert that holds extraordinary power in store. Its name? Yes, its name is Trishurai. If you could but bring it to me. Bring me it so I can feed it to the treasure stone. Ah, the rock squeeze for Sethos. Certain beyond a doubt. What do you think, Traveler? Let's give it a try. Pumps being pretty curious to see what will happen too, that's for sure. If you really can get your hands on Trishurai, a single chunk should suffice. Well, we've got a decent enough amount. Congealed elemental energy. So this is Trishurai, a stone that does not grow within the borders of Nawa, and when the treasure stone consumes it, it will surely be able to absorb its power. Oh, how I long to know, how I yearn to know my treasure stone. On my treasure stone, finally the time has come. So what's the payoff going to be? I imagine that we're going to break it open and get into a cave on the other side. See a bit of graffiti. The real question is... what does he actually want the Trishurai for? Because I imagine that he has been pocketing the rocks. Hello, how are you doing? I'm doing alright. I was just going with the treasure rock guy, And this time there were crystals there, and this time he actually asked for the Trishiraites, which are Sethos's specialty, but I had some on hand. Okay. Well, good luck with that. I'm just shooting. Oh, well. It's not necessary to use that burst. Oh, well. But last night, I got a bunch of little character dolls from the Claw Convoy event, the one where you search for animals. And, let me see. Oh, come on. Xingqiao, Hutao, Yula, Xinyan, Shiori, and Sethos all had little dolls you could get from doing the little animal search event. Very, very cute. Alright. Let's do this. Come on, come on. Okay then, and they're all far away. Not great. Who are we going to shoot? Shoot you. And that had some limitations. Alright. Still doing pretty well. Okay. Decent enough rotation. Alright. Cool. He ended up with a lot more energy recharge than I even intended to give him. Auron, which means that he gets his burst back hilariously easy. Hilariously easily. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, especially since his utility is largely about his buffing, not his own personal damage. Though it's not that his personal damage is bad, per se. But it's not really what he's here for. Alright. Thank you. Just like that. And let's go for a few more shots. Okay, come on. Some of you. Go for the ult. And not bad, not bad. Who is... That's annoyingly placed. And now we got you all grouped up. Cool. And go for the ult. Should be good. Oh, well. One of you died to fall damage. That's one way to do it. Okay. And... it's one way to do it. Thank you, Dia. Alright. Now it's on to Toyac. I also got a few things, condensed resin I can craft and maybe get some more of for Auron's talents. Yeah, sure. 82... no, 78 for that. We'll have exactly enough. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I am really running low on Mora, actually. It's pretty funny. It's not something that happens often. Thank you. Level this up. Cool. Sand wave, collision damage. Ritual damage. It's interesting that they describe it as the ritual. Well, guess we can get a little bit more Mora, but of course... her ult is cool. It is fun to watch, and it's pretty good damage. I'm glad I built a good amount of energy recharge for her as a result, especially since more attack would only do so much in light of the fact that if I'm running her seriously, I'm running her with Bennett. Okay, and that takes, yeah, 45,000 per. Let's just get a bit more Mora. Get him to 999. Something like it. I actually wonder what to level the sword from the new event 2. That means I should prep some materials. Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday. It uses mass, which I don't have a lot of, I'm pretty sure. Not sure if I used them already. I've got an okay amount, but definitely need a few more. That... I think I'll try to craft a few up to see how many more I need, but those are going to be available to farm tomorrow for the sword you get from this patch's main event. This... What kind of team even was that? Whatever. Either way, we can use the actual team I run with Chaska here. This will work just fine. For a bit of farming, don't really need a lot of Nolan characters in here right now. I will say that it does get a little weaker after first rotation, just because it doesn't have full party healing. So Furina's drain can only do so much. Okay. Oh, angle on that was rather poor. Okay. Thanks. Well, we got it. Thank you. Just a few more of these. And you went all the way over here because overload is a funny reaction. Technically it is overloaded, not overload. Yeah, because superconduct... It's not superconducted, it's superconduct. So the name of the reaction is overloaded. That is right. And you have not actually seen. Not seen yet. It's interesting. Well, it really is that easy. Wow. I will say that I think that Chaska being so simple and so strong is going to get old eventually. The craziest thing is that I used her against the anti-gravity boss in Abyss yesterday. The experimental field generator. And the crazy thing is that she flies up high enough that the shockwaves just don't hit her. That you can just hover right over them and keep shooting. And it is funny and cool at first, but it's also just okay. Being able to just ignore most enemy mechanics. Well, you avoid it normally by jumping over it, so it's not supposed to reach all that high. It's just supposed to screw you if you're still on the floor. So the fact that she actually floats up, the fact that that lets her avoid it is normal and to be expected, but it's also sort of, okay, maybe it wasn't such a good idea to have a character who runs like that to begin with. Yeah, but what is notable is that it differentiates her from characters like Nuviet, because even though Nuviet appears to float, he's actually still grounded, so there's nothing, no kind of force shockwave he dodges. And in addition to that, if you get knocked out of his charging animation, as in he doesn't actually float while he charges, he just looks like it. If he gets knocked out of it, he immediately snaps down to the floor. Because it's entirely visual. It's actually kind of funny. Oh well. Now for Fab, just get the burst back up, and now I think... Let's go to... I did not actually clear out everything. Well, I didn't talk to everyone here. So I think I'm going to do that, and then probably move on to going around Toyac, which shouldn't be all that long. The real question is, there are going to be a bunch of phlogiston fish. Going to be some fishing spots in here, because there was a phlogiston fishing spot in here, which was really nice to see. It does make me happy that they have lava fishing. Alright. We were over here. Oh, that's right. Now that we switched to the mirror to where the treasure compass was, but we can just switch that back now. Come on. Come on. Gadgets. There's a non-zero chance that the carbon dioxide levels in the house might be kind of high. Because... Wait, unequipped? The windows are all closed right now. Well, mostly. I have one open because of carbon dioxide worries. So I've been drowsy and I've found it hard to concentrate, and all I can really think is, you know, maybe there might be carbon dioxide issues. Because it's an old house and we just had the windows closed because it's winter. And it makes me think. Makes me think sometimes. Okay. I guess it would be kind of unpleasant to lose brain cells, you know? Oh, and here it is. Thank you. Nothing nearby. We're already at 100. I thought I'd come up here before. I guess I hadn't. Huh. That's okay. That up top. Can't reach it all that well. But that gave us just the right angle, so I'd say get on that thing. Not that important, though. Well, let's get back here. So these are presumably bungee jumping platforms, I would imagine. Let's just talk to the people, some of whom are dead now, and therefore no longer in the area. They actually had a number of NPCs, no one really important, generally disappear from existing areas after beating that Orcon quest, because they died in battle. And a lot of them are ones who actually have names you can see on that list of the deceased, which is pretty cool. Okay. Let's get to talking. Not a lot of people to actually talk to. Fair. What I do know is that one of the Yumkasaurs will actively mourn their deceased partner. But of course you need to switch to a Yumkasaur. You need to possess a Yumkasaur in order to talk to the Yumkasaur, but then it'll get all sad. Hawkow Wayfinder. Oh, well, you're not from here. We were close call, who knew it'd be so hard to live so high up day after day. I wonder how it would feel like to get swung back and forth by a Yumkasaur. Pretty great, huh? Well, you mean the pleasure of coming and going freely? Do you think floating in the air is kind of like swimming in water? That I can kind of understand. Pretty grating, huh? Not great, but grating. Really? Then aren't the signs the Canopy always like engaging in spiritual practices every day? Oh, no wonder their warriors are so strong, much better than us people of the Springs who only know some cheap lava tricks. Not seen any of them do that. Why not try it yourself? You've got a point. Not much to say. Yawar guard. Those who stand at high places are always staring at their feet, so they can easily overlook dangers coming from above. They should be more careful. This area is especially prone to accidents. That's exactly right. See the cliffs around here? There are basically no fences in sight. My people are at least used to it. They all got picked up by Yumkasaurs at some point in our lives. So if we were to hear someone suddenly miss their step and start screaming, chances are they're an outlander friend. Is the injury likely? Usually it'd just be some small scratches. Ones who get seriously hurt around here. Those who are into serious challenges and extreme sports. And just between the two of us, if you ever find someone seriously injured, without the help of a doctor, please feel free to bring them to me. I actually know some first aid techniques, but please don't tell anyone else about it. If those crazy kids ever hear that, I'd be able to save them. I'll just feel compelled to try even more dangerous tricks. Thanks for the reminder. You're welcome. That reminds me of the opening sequence of Zelda Skyward Sword. If if you hop off the island, the Sky Island, Skyloft, before you actually get your bird to fly around, someone will come and pick you up. Oh, records of Hanan Paka. Okay. That up. Oh, it's... Hey, is this the guy? Probably not. Paka. If only I could make friends with the riders of the Fire Feather Clan or their fluffy kukasaurs. Over there. If you want it, then work for it. Ah, that's true, but as we all know, most members of the Flower Feather Clan enjoy flying on the sky and their kukasaur's friends. Says the Pokemon addict. It's hard enough to see one on the ground, much less set up a meeting. But now that I think about it, but the Sons of the Canopy, the Flower Feather Clan, like high places and have a pretty good relationship with one another. I guess that's why Chaska showed up in the first Archon quest sequence, which means I shouldn't give up just yet. It's a good thing that I'm not afraid of heights. Next time I'll try my luck with a hot air balloon and go even further up. Heading for the high ground, oh well said. To continually challenge yourself is also a way to compete with your past self. Well, I would not throw stones while I'm living in a glass house. Maybe you could, but it would slash you up real bad. I would mock you as you bled out. Haven't you made any friends yet? Ah, it's not that easy. I did come across some of the Flower Feather Clan's warriors on the battlefield, but it was hardly the time for a chit-chat. This kukasaurus flew up so high, the Flower Feather Clan hadn't done such a good job saving people left, right, and center. There might have been even more casualties. I don't think I'd be able to fight alongside them, not with my abilities at least. Perhaps most experienced hunters could jump as high as they can. But with greater abilities comes greater risk too. I still haven't heard any news of Sinchi since the war ended. Well, of course. Good luck. Yeah, thank you for that. It means a lot. I don't know. Probably let the dog eat you or something. And you are not one of the ones with dialogue. But there is a sconce right there. This is where we go down into the rest of the area. Interesting. Explosive paint. Mishika, manager Courier's Longhouse. The amount of contraband I've confiscated from packages would probably be enough for me to open my own shop. Is there anything of note nearby? What a package exploded. Oh no, great. I mean, sorry, just me being overly sensitive. So no mining spots. I don't know. Only in the Archie comics. There's a reason they retconned it, and it's because the Archie comics were based on an English chronology, ultimately inspired by the Sonic Saturday morning cartoons, which Sonic very deliberately, from anything Japanese, Sonic very deliberately does not have much of an in-universe backstory. To the extent that he has a backstory, it's sort of out-of-universe, in-universe. He's literally a children's storybook character come to life. You want to get a new job? Opening a shop? Oh no, I don't actually have any plans to open a shop. It was just an analogy. Once you've worked here for long enough, you'll see just about anything. Distract for 1 second and something in a package gets broken. Would you like me to... Do you want me to mute you? I'll mute you. Also, I don't see you. You are lines on a screen. Get distract again, the delivery address literally evaporates into thin air because there's written that kind of ink that changes with the outside temperature, so I forget it. There's no point going into it. There'll only be more pleasant surprises waiting for us. Sorry you had to listen to all that. I hope I didn't take up too much of your time. Okay, can you sell it to me? What, the contraband? Hey kid, cut it out. And that was really just a joke. There was no way I'd actually sell any of that stuff. Just pretend you ever heard anything. Okay, you have my thanks. Right, would he sell it to me then? No, I'm not asking you to repeat everything. I'm not jesting. Just pretend that my complaints have all been burned away about the sacred flame. Taking my troubles with them. Got a kindling, because flame. How have you been lately? Okay-ish, mostly because we've been short-staffed. The area affected by the war was so vast that many of our couriers who were tasked with carrying battle reports ended up collapsing from exhaustion. Many others are still busy running to and fro between the various camps or are now prioritizing the delivery of intel related to the Abyss and reconstruction efforts. The efficiency of other package deliveries may be affected. As a result, we apologize in advance. Right. No, I wish. Safety first. You're right. Though if I liked, I could ensure that no more words showed up. Hello? Picked this up earlier. Did you know some idiot must have lose it along the way again? Let me see. Damaged letter and a damaged package. This is the one from Tekemicon. Looks like it's for Akka. The packaging's broken. We were sent it as is. The whole item might get ruined. Still need to sort out the packages in the stores, so could you help me send this to her? She's the owner of Frida's Palette. Don't worry, you couldn't miss her shop sign even if you tried. Akat's package, an express delivery package. The damaged exterior, according to Mishika. The letter inside belongs to Akat, the owner of Frida's Palette, located in the stadium of the Sacred Flame. Picked this up earlier. Yeah. Damaged letter, a letter with a damaged exterior. We can vaguely make out these words on the envelope from Anka. This looks like Chanka's handwriting. If I had to guess, this must be another order invoice. The packaging here is broken. There's no way I can deliver it this way. This letter shall have to be returned. Still need to sort out the packages in the store, so could you help send this back to Chunka at my said? She's the owner of the Weary Inn near the Stadium of the Sacred Flame. You can't miss it. It's probably all the stadium, maybe. Chunka's letter. Letter with a damaged exterior. According to Mishika, the letter belongs to Chunka, the owner of Weary Inn, located in the Stadium of the Sacred Flame. Oh, there's nothing to see yet, because there are 2 more mailers that we can pick up and send, I believe. That's its own little pseudo-side quest. Tundana, the courier. Oh, hi. Hello. Want a letter mail? It's good to keep in touch with your family and friends, you know? To do overseas delivery, theoretically speaking, it shouldn't be a problem. It'd be a bit difficult for me to leave not one personally, though. I'll have to submit multiple rounds of applications to the YUB, and even then it's anyone's guess whether or not my leave permit will be granted. How jokes aside, if letters need to be sent abroad, we'll usually take them at the border before handing them over to our colleagues from the other nations. Anyway, just leave it to me. I promise you that I'll get it delivered. You seem to love your job, of course. You can stay in shape, enjoy the scenery, even enjoy the happy smiles on the recipients' faces when they get the letter at long last. There's no other job that'll let you have all that. It's true that I'll have to be the harbinger of bad news every once in a while, but the longer you work this job, the more you learn that good things still outweigh bad things in this world. Wonder how you'd send a letter to someone without an address yet, the sibling. Oh, so it's not so much a letter as a missing person poster. If you're looking for someone, you might want to try your luck with the people of the Springs. Their folks and historians are all super knowledgeable. They were adept at both pathfinding and navigation. Some people have said that ghost hole swords are like dogs that live in water. I think they're onto something. Their only flaw is that they tend to work rather slowly. You might have to wait a while before you can be reunited again. I'm fine for now. No worries, just come find me if you need a letter delivered. I feel like how a number of the Qatari, Aqua, the doctor, a number of the NPCs do give some items in exchange for talking. Travel announcements or guests from Fargo's Skilled Mountains on your way. The sounds of the Canopy extend their greetings to you. This is the bulletin board for a tribe's affairs. May here you find the information you seek, as well as a path to the attainment of your hopes. Adventurers Guild ad. The hour to transcend your limits has come. The not one branch of the Adventurers Guild is now recruiting new members yet because the Scions are the only tribe that really works with the guild. Sons of the Canopy, you who possess the courage to navigate the high peaks and towering cliff faces, extreme sports prodigies of outstanding agility. The Adventurers Guild needs you. Sign up during the event to receive instant access to expert courses and detailed notes compiled by renowned adventurers. 3 sets of high-quality guild standard attire. Green works for them. We'll even throw in a rookie adventurer starter kit too. For more details, please visit our branch headquarters over at the Stadium of the Sacred Flame and speak with Branch Master Mansa. The majority of our tribe's buildings are suspended on the cliff sides. We kindly ask all visitors to stay safe and avoid getting too close to the platform edges until you've undergone the proper training and passed all the basic tests. We advise against casually attempting extreme sports like the Signs of the Canopy, even though you'll likely be rescued by one of our valiant Yumkasaurs. Thus avoid coming to any real harm. The impact and dizziness of coming to a sudden stop after a freefall can still be somewhat overwhelming. You might be left with your legs shaking, traumatized for weeks. So even though you came up the mountain on foot, you'll find yourself crawling back down on your knees. Given the special nature of extreme sports, the Scions of the Canopy only offer these activities to visitors under specific conditions. Please refer to the rules for each activity. If you're still climbing, due to the specific lighting conditions over the small cliff, this activity is only available from 10 o'clock to 18 o'clock daily. 10 to 6. Mountain parkour. What is this, Minecraft? Well, he does have his pixels. Opening hours vary depending on when the safety officers complete their course inspection, but are usually between 11 o'clock and 7 o'clock. Well, you wouldn't want to come crashing down because you'd slipped on a quint of a berry or something like that, would you? Small cliff. Today's fast food menu for the small cliff climbing station has been updated. Our all-new force of color paper meal box is light, portable, and spill-resistant, making it the perfect choice for a satisfying meal during your extreme sports adventures. I believe that was a recipe I picked up from a chest. Additionally, the Canopy Berry Freeze, an all-time favorite of the Yumkasaurs, is back with a vengeance. This time we made the sugar coating tough to prevent it from being crushed before it even reaches the Yumkasaur's mouth. Keeping your hands from getting all sticky, just please make sure kids don't get their hands on them for saurians only, so that's why it's not something we can make. Kids that accidentally eat them might have trouble sleeping at night and can experience other strange side effects, such as wishing they had saurian tails. Can't believe it'll turn them into otherkin. Hot air balloon racing open daily from 7 to 8 o'clock, weather permitting and within the safe temperature range. Cliff bungee jumping. Hours vary depending on the time. Take the set of the ropes, protective gear, and get the Yumkasaur safety team in place. Please await notification from Supervisor Paka, the guy over on the jumping plank. Over there. Screen participants who have slipped can be an extremely demanding task, so the Yumkasaur safety team will occasionally need a lie-in. Lie-in? Thank you for your understanding. New batch of career relay outposts is currently under construction. We're on the lookout for seasoned adventurers with plenty of experience in camping and wilderness survival. Additionally, utilizing the latest wood treatment techniques from the collective of plenty, Volcano, Yansan, Electro Tribe, designed a brand new type of supply station. Just as how well the tribe's Yumkasaurs adapt to these new buildings. We may be moving them around more frequently in the near future, as well as possibly enlisting the help of a few new saurian friends. Please rest assured there is no need for any concern or worry. The hour to okay, now it's repeating. Okay. And now it's not in any kind of order. Why not? Greetings, friend. I hope you've been holding up well. Tell me about yourself. I'm the chief of the Scions of Canopy. You may call me Wina. Some people like to call me Uncle Wina, but please don't follow their example. Seriously, I'm not that old. To me, maturity is more like a fashion style. Well, it means that I have the most adventuring experience out of anyone in the tribe. It's got nothing to do with my real age, understand? Somehow I doubt that. I trust you've been well. Of course, everything here has been going fine. What about you? Thinking about taking some risks again? I consider everything you've done to be quite risky, you know. Going to the Night Kingdom, bringing Satali, Spirit Speaker Stone. In my opinion, both of those are extremely important yet risky endeavors. It's good to have the spirit of adventure, but it can also be a double-edged sword. I know you won't like to hear this, but it doesn't hurt to be a bit more careful. Don't worry about me, I'm pretty amazing. Not confident, so I like it. I've heard about you, the Outlander can use full gisting. That's more than just pretty amazing, if I do say so myself. In that case, these should be useful. You're right, take it, but no need to be polite about it. Oh, Embercore flowers. Okay, about fighting the Abyss. Oh well, I suppose it's not going too badly. For the Abyss was seen as just another type of extreme sport, and then there'd be nothing about it that we Scions of the Canopy couldn't handle. It's like jumping off a cliff, someone jumps straight back, others land safely, while others might fly to even farther places. Every outcome has a value of its own, thus deserves to be remembered. You too, see you later. Farewell for now, my friend. And this is a Saurian. We're not Yumkasaur, they don't look like they're in the mood to talk. It's a good thing they can't talk even if they were in the mood. But of course we can go into a sconce and see if they might have something to say now. Probably not. The sight of Hunza charging into battle as fast as he used to speak. It feels so long since I last heard him rambling on, perhaps I'll never hear it again. Sorry I'm not in the mood for a chat, don't think I'll be in the mood tomorrow either. And yep, that's a Yumkasaur whose partner died. Uncle, a doctor. Hi there, what can I help you with? Or was there anything you wanted to help the Scions of the Canopy with? Got my reputation, so you really are a helper after all. Thank you so much. We got them to max. Yep. Oh, what do you mean when you said help? Oh, let me explain. Often members of the tribe just have too much on their hands, so some turned into commissions that are open to outsiders as well. Anyone who wants to take out a commission can just come here to the Obsidian Totem Pole. Naturally, you'll be compensated for completing commissions. Feel free to stop by and help. And you are an vet who specializes in treating saurians. A pleasure to meet you. It may sound cool, but really, I just give baby saurians their meds and talk to them. Most I can be considered a medical intern. For seriously injured saurians, it's best if you see a professional saur vet. Did she get mentioned Aoife? Yep, like Aoife from the Flower Feather Clan. If you give him a call, he'll rush right on over. Of course, I've got some pretty neat talents too. You know how Yumkasaurs usually don't like being around people. Well, they don't mind me. Sometimes little saurians look unwell, but they're actually just in a bad mood, so spending time with them can be an excellent form of treatment, you know. Got other things to do right now. Take care then. Emotional support. I wonder if making it daytime will make things more Not accessible, but... Come on. Come on. That's funky. Galapa, the guard. Went up there to get to the top of the mountain if we feel like it. I don't, though. I wonder if that sword will talk. Oh, looks like we've got a surprise visitor here. Impressive, yeah. Indeed, but it's now time for you to leave. This is where we keep our watch. It's not a great spot for sightseeing or small talk. Sad. Goodbye. Mm-hmm. Dot, dot, dot. And... do you have anything to say? Probably not. I did not mean to do that. Oh, we got another person right here, but they do not have anything to say. It's more like a flower featherquine outfit too, it seems. Interesting. Okay. Let's... yeah, you're not much for conversation. Oh well. After this, yeah, I will move on to Toyac. Got a way down here. So who has anything to say, is the question. Humboldt and Roca, the rock climbing instructor. Now that was a great warm-up, most praiseworthy, but I still have a problem with the muscle groups that are used for rock climbing. Ah, I knew it. Don't give up just yet, let me finish. You can't only use your arms just because your legs are a bit uncoordinated. How can you put extra pressure on something that was already lacking in the first place? We're going to focus on training your arms next. Understood? Okay, understood. Wait, did I come here to sightsee? How did I get roped into a fitness class? All the tourist tracks and not one are kind of like this, we'll get used to it. See, guess I'll take your word for it. Maita. Oh no, you caught me. Oh, I think this is the kid who is good at climbing. Mentioned that one commission. What was all that running around for? What do you mean horsing around? I'm clearly training. Grown-ups all say that I'm super fast. They say I'm the spiriest brat that they've ever seen. So I've got to work hard and play to my strengths so I can eventually become the fastest warrior in the war against the abyss. A little bit right, but also a bit wrong. What do you mean? So like my direction is right, the methods are wrong, kind of like that outlander guy by the small cliff over there. His problem is actually quite simple, he's just being too careful. Roka is always worried that he might get hurt, but he can't improve without picking up a scratch or two. Oh, the small cliff is this. It's an indoor climbing. If you ask me, I should go teach him instead. I'm so fast at climbing, I'm sure I'll be a good instructor as well. I'm sure we got the hang of it after falling a few times. Uh-oh. Final let it slide. Then I'm off. Anything new here? Oh, this is new. General message board. Chief wanted a suggestion. This community bulletin board is going to be repurposed to serve as a general message board. Aside from being a place to display important news concerning the tribe, feel free to leave any other messages here too. With members of the Scions of the Canopy and visitors from outside the tribe are welcome to share feedback and requests at any time. Amauta's advertisement. Our shop handles custom orders for all types of extreme sports gear as well as souvenir clothing for tourists. In addition to fine ores supplied by the Children of Echoes and fabrics chosen by the Collective of Mighty Fabrics. Right, agriculture. That would have grown the fibers. They also use various raw materials imported from abroad. Prices are negotiable, however big the order. Important note, when ordering custom grappling hooks, please provide accurate body weight measurements. No shame in a few extra pounds, as long as the Yumka source can still lift you, you're good. Accurate weight measurements are crucial for grappling hook safety. The safest and simplest of extreme sports you can imagine, perfect for beginners, head over to the Small Cliff, which is the indoor facility here. To experience the joys of climbing for yourself, how can something that's safe even be called an extreme sport? Doesn't seem fun in the slightest. This is what the rock climbing in that one's like. I might as well have just stayed at home and gone hiking on my own, the most authentic, most challenging extreme sports you can imagine. Perfect for those looking for a challenge. Head over to the Small Cliff to experience the joys of climbing for yourself. It's repeated, tips for befriending saurians. Many little Yumkasaurs dislike it when other people groom their tails. First, their parents tell them little saurians must grow up quickly and take care of themselves. Adult Yumkasaurs, on the other hand, particularly enjoy having their tails groomed as they love showing off how well kept their fur is. Be like a hairdresser telling your hair is so thick and lush, it must be hard trying to manage it all on your own. Safety notice, this month there were a total of 11 incidents and they're all showing. Okay. 9 vault damage to property and goods and 2 resulted in injuries as travelers and personnel. Both travelers and new couriers, please always exercise caution, avoid reckless modes of travel, choose suitable paths and climbing routes, and prioritize your safety at all times. Alright, Uncle Wani, you've told me this umpteen times already. Mind it, you little rascal. Just because you haven't gotten hurt yet doesn't mean it doesn't apply to you. You of all people should be extra careful. No way you have to take a few tumbles if you want to get better, huh? If you need anything brought back, feel free to leave a message below with Sinchi. As long as it's with my abilities, I'll find a way to bring it back. I think that's the guy who died. Wouldn't be able to bring back some meat for you, Sinchi. I want to make some food for my sickle saurian. No problem, I'll bring it back for you tomorrow. I want some chocolate, Sinchi. Me too. Bring some back, some for me too. Hey, no, it's not like cacahuatl grows on trees, you know. Just reach out underground and dig some up for yourself. Gentle reminder from Aqua: when you're making friends with Yunkasaurs, make sure you adjust your approach depending on their age. Generally speaking, both juvenile and adult Yunkasaurs enjoy having their noses the part that protrudes above their mouth. Gently pressed by their companions, a bit like how friends might give each other a friendly pat on the back. If you've got a baby Yunkasaur in your hands, they'll love a gentle ear rub. Some Yunkasaurs approaching adulthood may be sensitive about people touching their ears. After all, they're no longer little kids anymore in their own minds anyway. Okay, now it's repeating. Cool. Any other people? Amauta in her shop better be busy. Not so much too, but that's probably a good thing. Is more work good? It depends on what kind of work you have to do. For me, having more work is undoubtedly a good thing. Well, you see, I'm the one responsible for making and repairing sports equipment for our tribe. Things like hooks, locks, and protective gear. If you need anything, just holler. You'd basically be supporting my business. And well, the more business I have, the more people there are hoping to get their hands on my equipment. It's always better than having no customers at all. Pretty fulfilling life. Well, that wasn't quite what I was thinking, but you're also not wrong. Who else? The old guy from before. Oh, and a normal crystal chunk. Okay. So that's about it here then. We can move on to Toyac now then. Alright. Let's grapple our way back. I think the only tribe where the person guarding the totem change is actually people of the springs. That's fine. And yep, nothing nearby anymore, so it's time to move on. Alright, lots and lots of these platforms. Alright. Okay. Alright. That is fun. Yeah, it's a bit more limited and you need the grapple hooks, but if you have that, you can move even faster than flight here. Yeah. So it is rather time limited. Guess we can go over to Fire Thief now. So we'll be going through Toyac. From what side do I want to start? That's the question. I think I'll move over to the island. There is a Pyroculus over there. Yeah, it is all Kawatapek, which surprises me a bit. Okay. I'll wait for the Pyro to come back. Oh well, oh well. And the basic shots ended up finishing the job. Okay. A bit of water to go across. Guess I could fight those secret source enemies. What does the sword require again? Calamity of Esho. Oh, it needs the new Tenebrous Mimesis materials. That might be kind of tough, actually. Well, let's see. Yeah, because I might have to go around and just fight a few in... Oh, the area of... Oshkanawan, where it seems most of them are. Okay, cool. Thank you. Oh, come on. Well, wonder if any more enemies will show up after we beat this initial round. Oh, interesting. And... no, that was all of them. Okay. Still with it. So... what's this gonna be? Oh, this is one that you're supposed to do with Kinich. Or a Yunkasaur. But they're isn't really a Yunkasaur around. Oh, okay. We'll just break those targets. Like it's Smash Brothers or something. None of that nearby, and of course this is how you get over to the island. Well, how we would get over the island if we didn't have our own swimming. Alright. And there's a bit of Hydro Res here, so let's wait for you to get a bit closer. Hello, thank you. Cool. And yeah, that did hit. I was worried for a second. And there we are. No chest or anything, at least not this time, but we won. Anything else worth getting over here, or is it just going to be this? I think this is all. Yeah. Right, alright. Still got a little bit of this water to just go through to make sure there's nothing there. Again, I'm pretty sure there won't be anything, but always want to check. There might be a random stray Kaholosaur that'll use a bunch of heavily resisted bites to try to take down, and there is that one challenge we did before. Probably gonna be Phlogiston out in the middle of the ocean. And of course there's no one who can surf like this yet other than Mualani, so there's no way to just alternate with Night Soul transmission yet. That's fine. Oh, and it does seem that the map boundary is a little tighter than what the red line on the actual visual map seems to show. That's okay. Yeah, let's go back to the island and just take down whoever's here. Already did all the challenges. That's fine. Interestingly enough, wonder if you could. Yeah, you can grapple over here from the island, and I think it's probably how you're supposed to get a Yunkasaur over here to break the targets most easily. Maybe. Alright. Yeah, because Yunkasaurs can't swim, but it's not like they're Yoshis from Mario Sunshine. They don't done immediate contact with any water, they just can't swim. Though honestly, there is a bit of Mario Sunshine Yoshi in there, I would imagine. Oh, EM won't do anything for us here. That's a shame. Well, let's keep going. Make use of that Shuon and Shred Bow. Yep, and it's gone now. Thanks. And, oh, it went all the way down to the bottom of the ocean. I don't even think Kaza can get that. It's way too low. Yeah, if I reload the area, it should put it back on top of the water, I think. I hope. Let's just see what happens. Over and see if that makes it come back. Let's see. Yep, it is on top of the water. Very, very nice. Thank you, reloading. That, actually, 3 juvenile things is not nothing. Of course, the question is how many more I'll need. Because Notline characters have been very, very consistent about needing either whistles or fangs. Because in the first patch of Fontaine, you got Winnie needing Fatui mats, even though Fremine needed the new xenochromatic crystals, and Lent needed Automaton needed mech gears. What did they call them again? Yeah, Clockwork Mecha. Yeah, My brain is not working right now. But as I was saying, he used Clockwork Mecha Gears, but it wasn't just that. And then Rithesli needed gears, and Nuviet needed crystals, but then you got Arlecchino, even though she wasn't technically Fontaine, even though she was technically a Sneznaya character, needing... I believe it was Fatui mats. Again. Either way, she did not need just new Fontaine materials, and Chiyoda used Spectre mats, and to be fair, when we get... Oh, well, now it's gone. That's fine, though. What did Arla need again? Let me check. Arla used crystals. Emily used gears, but we have really just been getting characters who need the new materials and pretty much nothing else. Because, yeah, she used Fatui mats, too. Yeah, it was kind of painful. First patch, just... Kinich needed fangs, and then both Mualani and Kachina needed whistles. Which meant there was no way to really prepare in advance like you could with Eleni. And with Eleni it was especially nice because he was the first 5-star. So you really wanted to, I would say, get him built as quickly as possible to engage with new content. And the fact that he used Fatui materials helped at least a little with that. But with Notlan, they've been very ruthless about new character, new mats. New character, new mats. Which I suppose does encourage you to engage with the new content, and given the fact that they've gotten special limited time rewards for exploration, it makes sense. It's a logical course of action for them, but even still, it... When you want to do new exploration, you want to do it with new characters, and if you can't have them fully leveled without going into the new areas at first, it does make it a little bit tougher, though that itself might also be intentional. I don't know. Either way, especially since local specialties are generally going to be a limiting factor, no matter what. Hello. Okay, so you can't just land on the ring, you have to actively be going through one of the jet set eddies. Okay. Alright. Tough damage. Okay. Go back around here. Just some crappy weapons, that's okay. Okay. That was open already. Just get up top and see what happens. Alright. This is where we got one of those iridescent inscriptions, which we traded in to some guy over by the stadium a while ago. Really cool aesthetic. But of course, they don't have any kind of physical presence, so we just go right through them. Okay. Nothing nearby. Guess we'll just move west to Toyac. And that means, I suppose, a fight against the configuration device. That'll be alright. Just thinking. The stadium shouldn't take long at all. That means on Sunday I should be able to go for the new Interlude Archon quest. And then probably do Chaska's Trouble Chronicle 2, and if I'm lucky, that might even mean getting to do a bit of Trouble Reputation. Maybe, probably not. I don't know. It's not like I really have to rush Trouble Reputation, because won't be until presumably 5.4 that we get Collective of Plenty and can finish that out anyway. It is definitely interesting how its different reputation per tribe in a way they never did before, and again, it makes me wonder whether Snezhnaya might have something vaguely similar, because in the Marvelous Merchandise event last patch, you had Liben mention the city of Nodekrai, as well as this Voynich guild, so I'm wondering if there'll be some sort of factions like the guild, or maybe it'll be individual town or city reputation within Snezhnaya. Maybe even just reputation with the Fatui, and then reputation with people who don't like the Fatui. But I honestly can't imagine that after establishing this different reputation situation, that it'll just be totally abandoned. Because among other things, it does allow them to sort of delay and make sure you can't just rush all of reputation within the first couple of patches, which is otherwise what would be done, because I got to max reputation in Fontaine before the end of 4.1. And to be fair, that was alright, because it meant having the glider for Fiorina when she came out, especially since the glider literally only looks good on Fiorina. Which I do find to be an interesting choice in no small part because it's probably motivated by the fact that there had been numerous blue gliders released already, and they just thought, you know, we don't need another blue glider. Hi, Kozu. I'm just exploring. Not much else. Going back through an area of the game that I needed to... Well, didn't really have a chance to before. How are you doing? Do you have big Thanksgiving plans? I'm just going to see family. That's it. Nice to chat. Stick around, stay a while. Well, I mean, you won't, but it would be nice. That sounds fun. Do you have any big dinner plans, or just turkey? Regular turkey? Okay. Yeah, have fun. Interesting. Big mashed potatoes person? Oh. Oh. Interesting. Turkey? Cranberry sauce? I bet it's gonna be cranberry sauce. Yeah, Oh, they added a spirit way. There wasn't here before. Elaborate on that. Oh, okay. Well, you know, exposure therapy can help. If it's a problem you have any interest in solving. Or I guess you could just eat frosted mini-wheats for the rest of your life. Okay. But, as I was saying... If there's... Kellogg's Frosted Mini-Wheats? That's a cereal that is shredded wheat with a bunch of frosted sugar on it. There was a pretty infamous tweet some years ago where I forget what the reason for it specifically was, but Kellogg was getting boycotted, and someone said that due to sensory issues, they could literally only eat frosted mini-wheats, and not even just generic, but explicitly the brand version. And it's just, you know, it's one thing to have issues like that, and it's another to explicitly use it as deflection of criticism. It is what it is. I know that's not you, but... Okay. Let's go ahead and fight. Cool. Cool. Should be able to get them going. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not a huge cereal person. Whenever I eat cereal, it'll just be Cheerios. Come on, come on. And... let's get this started. Wait for that element to go away. Oh, okay, no, I can aim up and get that. Interesting. Vacation where? Let's go over and get that going. Oh, we spent too long. That sucked. Well, no shred. I didn't know Russia was in Mexico. That's interesting. Okay, oh, that's exciting. I know, I'm joking. Well, there are a bunch of random American cities named after places that are decidedly not in America. The big one is that you may or may not have heard of this, but it's... I forget what state it's in. It's Peking... Let me see. Pekin... Okay, Pekin, Illinois. Okay. There's a city named Pekin, Illinois. And it was named that because it was falsely believed that it was on the opposite side of the world from Beijing. And for a while it had a comically racist mascot. For its local high school team, it was literally just an offensive Chinese caricature. Seriously. I'm not kidding. It's actually pretty ludicrous. Okay. Oh, and right. Sometimes it can die by just falling. Nice. And it was changed, of course. Because eventually people realized, hey, you know, this is actually kind of really stupid and offensive. But... and also just stupid because, well, they also weren't on the opposite side of the world from Beijing. Okay. Let's go up top. How far will this take me? What color? Here's what you really do. You dye your hair the same color that it was already. And I don't mean it in the sense of being old and trying to get rid of the gray. I mean literally just dyeing it the same exact color that it already was. Back when I was in college, I actually briefly had frosted tips. Because as part of a dorm thing, we all had to bleach our hair. And after a while, when it started growing back, I had actual frosted tips. It honestly was not a bad look on me. But it would be time intensive and difficult to actually specifically get frosted tips is the thing. But it's interesting conceptually. So I guess I think I'll go on the southern islands before I go back up here, sweep in. Definitely want to make sure I get to the lava river today. Oh, Cocijo's right here. Let's actually just fight Cocijo now. Definitely want to switch the team back. Let's just get you out of the way so you can't interfere. Hello, hello, hello. And... well, for what it's worth, I don't imagine that Pekin, Illinois has had its racist mascot for... hasn't had it for at least a couple of decades now. You're fighting a battle that's already ended. Okay. At this point, it's just an uncomfortable fact of history that we can just cringe at. I'm sure they've moved on to other ways to be racist by now. Okay, let's get this started. Don't want to waste time. Let's get this going. Oh, we got the wrong buff. Great. Okay, without a damage buff, I do think I'm gonna need to... I think we're gonna miss the kill. That sucks. Let's go for your spin. This isn't the timed challenge. Do you mean that in the actual college student sense, or... I'm not going to endorse your underage drinking. Oh, we got the bonus this time. That's nice. Okay, and... Luckily, a Forgissen. It... You literally said that yourself. That's the only thing the term ever means. Don't complain about people being tattletales if you... You said it yourself. You said it yourself. Oh my goodness. If you're gonna be a clown, at least be a funny clown. Okay. Okay, just make sure we get those crits. We might be able to manage, but pretty high chance we do have to break the shield. Yes? Well, what I mean is that when people say pregame, what they mean is drinking alcohol before they go to a sports game or a bar, so that they don't have to spend money on overpriced alcohol there. The term basically only ever means consumption of alcohol. Okay. Alright. I think we might be able to still get this. Let's keep on running. It is and remains very funny that this boss fight is really just a Mualani check. Okay, and I didn't get a buff this time? Okay, well, alright. Oh, okay. Oops. Yep, we're gonna have to do it. Thank you. Well, it... Was it not obvious from the way they acted? But... Oh my goodness, well... That's a very dead Dia. Oops. Well, it's mainly an American thing. Because the entire reason it's a thing is because everything in America is stupidly expensive. Come on. Okay. Oh, but there's no damage being dealt, which means... Okay. Well... Come on. And there we are. Time to finish this garbage. The only thing that got in my way was death. Alright. Thank you, thank you. Stupid Chungus life. Love my stupid Chungus life. Okay. Well, it's more expensive in America. And in America, it's also bad. It's not like you're paying a bunch for good alcohol. You're paying a bunch for really bad beer. Okay. You know, in retrospect, I don't think I ever paid for alcohol. Now that I think about it. Just trying to remember. Yeah, the one time where I had a whole liter of beer, that was because someone else bought it for me. Okay. Yeah, I think that was the second to last time I ever drank. And the last time I ever drank deliberately. You know, I did have a tiny sip of beer some months ago, but that was it, and I made my displeasure known. Okay. Let's go over and take these guys out. Okay. Thank you. Let's take you down. Oh, well. You're out of the way of the fire. That's less than pleasant. Okay. Well, we got you. Come on. Thank you. Over and bite. Damage bonus and shred are helpful. Might be a Kaholosaur, still goes down. Alright. Well. Oh! Thank you for the follow, Navi Lotus. Welcome to the team. You have any interest in staying a while, we post schedules to the Discord. And also we just talk about stupid things. Nice to meet you. Come on. Let's get this going. And let's get that on all of you. Oh! Got a mushroom. Damage there is still crazy. Hello, how you doing? Happy Thanksgiving if you celebrate. Happy Thursday if you don't. Or Friday if you live in a different time zone. Oh! So, do you live in a different time zone then? Because I'm in Eastern. American Eastern time. Okay. Let me guess, you're European. Because, for whatever reason, there is something about me that seems to speak to the European soul. I don't know what that is. I'm not complaining. Yeah. It just surprises me. Other way, good to meet you. Oh, fair enough. So is it a matter of it's a time where you should be sleeping, or you miss sleep and now you're trying to catch up, or? Work definitely causes some sleep issues from. Oh, nice. We're in. I need to visit sometime. I wasn't talking about Europe either. I was talking about insomnia. Oh my goodness. Communication breakdown. Well, let's try to lure everyone into here. And come on. Get the fire on you. Try that going. It's not a great Kinich situation. This is Toyac, so why is it people the Sons of the Canopy Warriors? There really is barely anything that's people of the Springs. Though I imagine that when we actually go over to the volcano, we'll get a bit more. 5 minutes? 5 whole minutes? Oh my goodness. Yeah, when we get over here, we're gonna have to go through a little bit of people of the Springs to get to the volcano. I imagine that when we get the volcano in probably 5.4, they'll probably add... You gotta add 2 areas, and the question is really, okay, is it going to be the volcano and an underground instance area like Enkanomiya or underground chasm at Remoria, or is it going to be just maybe the volcano itself split into a couple areas, kind of like Chenyu being upper and southern, or... I wonder how that's going to work. Either way, we can let Kinich handle this. It's nothing is resisting Dendro right now, so... It's interesting. Okay. Got a number of the penguin-ish birds here. If anything, they're probably meant to be a bit like Argentinian penguins. Well, it depends on how long you've been gone. Because in the past couple of months, it's really just been Natlan. And Natlan is interesting, I would say. The Archon Quest last patch was really good. But the one thing I'd say might be an issue with it is... A lot of the exploration, fun as it is, kind of relies on you having the new characters. And I do, because I go for everyone and treat a game, this game sort of passes as sort of, okay, it's either this or subscribing to Final Fantasy XIV. But otherwise, you have to go around trying to actually find the Saurians, take them out so you can take on their forms, and it does get a little... It can get a little cumbersome. Because it is meant a little scummily to make you want to get the new characters, which, in the end, I enjoy the game for what it has and what it puts out. But it is undeniable, especially since they've been competing not only with other games, but with their own other games like ZZZ and HSR. Their strategy has very plainly shifted to trying to get more money out of the few players who are still around instead of trying to appeal to a bunch of players and getting a little bit of money out of them. Focus and Node, a creation left behind the ancient dragons of Natlan. It can change the direction of Focus and Flow, creating a spirit way. This might be the prototype on which spirit doors are based. Well, next patch we're getting Mavlikai, who is going to be the new DPS ceiling of the game. And arguably, kind of like New Viet and Arlecchino, there is a strong argument that it's just a continuation of existing power creep. But the thing about Malvika's kit is that simultaneously she is the new best Pyro DPS, meaning Arlecchino has been power crept about half a year after she came out, which is kind of crazy. But she also is an off-field Pyro applier who is arguably a little less powerful than Zhongling for that purpose at her absolute maximum, as in, if you can manage to get Zhongling's energy back, she has slightly faster application with Globa, and the Pyronado being a little bit faster than Malvika's off-field E. But also, you don't need to build 300% energy recharge on Malvika, you just tap the E and you've got your off-field Pyro. But of course, Malvika's on-field DPS capabilities are so ridiculous that people have joked that, okay, if you're going to make a Kinich team or a Mualani team for using Malvika as the off-field applier, the way you make that team better is by swapping out Kinich or Mualani, whatever your DPS is, in favor of Shilinen, and just having Shilinen buff Malvika and use Malvika as your DPS, because she's just that good. And of course, the other thing is also that the main thing with Not1 is that they're actually not adding a new artifact set next patch in 5.3 when they usually add 1.3 versions. It seems that they're going to continue going with this set, which is the buffing set, and this set, which is the DPS set. And both of them are really just only for Not1 characters. Night Soul's Blessing is a feature exclusive to Not1 characters, and it's basically just a way of making sure that the new artifact sets only really work with Not1 characters, which is a way to prevent hard power creep. Arguably, I suppose, even though these sets are already really, really good to the point that when they first came out in 5.0, there were builds where you would use this set as a buffing set on characters like Chivalrous or Mona, even though they didn't have Night Soul and could only give the 12% damage bonus, not the full 40, as in 12 plus 28, just because it's already a buff that's separate from things like Noblesse and Tenacity, which don't stack with themselves. It's another way to get a little bit more buffing on if you've already got other kinds of buffs up. But main thing is that Malvika can use this, and some people think, okay, Kinich is a new character, he's a lot of fun, but kind of like Emily, who you may have heard of, he's basically a DPS who gets stronger when burning is active on the field. Doesn't increase burning damage, but his damage goes up when burning is active. And the idea is basically, okay, you can use Malvika to trigger a burning reaction and then buff his Dendro damage, because the new set buffs the two elements of the reaction, so if Malvika triggered burning, she'd be buffing her own Pyro damage and Kinich's Dendro. Issue is that Dendro is... You're only triggering a burning reaction with her first rotation. Oh, hey, Puppy Man, how are you doing? Do you have any interest in Fortnite tomorrow? Lego Fortnite tomorrow? I know I mentioned that, but as I was saying, she can only trigger burning herself first rotation. So if you're running Kinich with her, you need to basically beat the enemy's first rotation, or you're not getting the buff second rotation onwards because of how burning works and how the... You can only sustain burning with Dendro. If you apply more Pyro, it's not going to restart the reaction. Good to see you. But basically, Genshin has gotten more complicated. It is what it is. It had to happen, because any kind of live service game is going to get more complicated the longer it goes on, but still. Not one sets are interesting. Oh, nice. So, you said you were making stuffing for inside the turkey and to serve on the side, right? Rongo, well now, if it isn't you, Traveler, what do you say? Ready to own your floating spirit here in the great training arena of the Springs. The spirit doors you activate haven't been fixed, sure, but this place is more than enough to serve as a surfing training ground. Come enjoy surfing freely in these waters. Oh, okay, there's nothing new, actually. He just mentions you can surf around, which, okay, I guess. Yes, we can just fight these Koholosaurs. Hope their drops don't go too far underwater, if they drop underwater. Come on, come on, come on. And buff's gone. Sad. Thank you! Happy Thanksgiving to you too. Come on. You're right here. Got that Fang. If only we could have Shilinen go out on the water herself. Oh well. It would be nice if there was a character other than Mualani who could surf. Well, Mavica can too, but I'm pretty... Her timing on it is very constrained. Can't really use it in the same way. And oh, the bite animation played, but it still didn't actually bite. Yeah, Mavica can surf, but what's really weird about it is that it doesn't actually run on Night Soul and Phlogiston. Well, it consumes Night Soul and Phlogiston still, but sustaining it has its own bar. And if that bar depletes, you can't surf anymore no matter how much Night Soul or Phlogiston you have. It's the same with her flying. Getting her C6 actually doubles the size of that different bar, but it's still very, very silly. It's not meant to be a... She's not meant to be able to surf as well as Mualani, which... Yeah, well, it's a number of colors, because Mualani's is blue. It's the energy bar that appears on the left of the character when their E skill's up. Or in Orone's case, it's different, and it can appear when other characters trigger it too, because Orone is funky. But the fact that Night Soul is kind of weird and inconsistent is because it's really just an individual resource for each character that has the same name, so it can be used for the same artifact set. It's definitely a little silly. In a weird kind of way that actually makes it a bit like, to my knowledge, the gauge that characters have in Wuwa. That resource, I don't know the name of it, but I know there's a resource gauge in Wuwa that each character has that has a similar name, but functions pretty much entirely differently for each one, because it's just their individual resource. Which, it is interesting that the game doesn't really have elemental reactions in the same kind of way. I feel like I should maybe try it once or twice just to see exactly how it works, but it's definitely a very different kind of game. I think there is a lot that is... Every now and then people will talk about HSR's elemental system being probably turkey, maybe some cranberry sauce, probably a lot of mashed potatoes. I like potatoes a lot. Tino the Mesley, People of Springs, leaves an inscription that the spirit scripts may not become blocked. Separate the Phlogiston engravings into differently colored shells and attach said shells to the other rest is too bored to read. It seems like you can fix nearby spirit script by sticking shells to it or something. We already did that. Palmer's not sure why, but her motivation is bleeding out a bit right. Yeah. In a couple of hours, I'm going out with family to a big family gathering to eat food that other people have made. Like a good leech. I don't know, I'll carry the board games in or something. That'll be my penance. But as I was saying, HSR's elemental system is more like Pokemon weaknesses or something. Pokemon type weaknesses. And that does mean that it's a bit more intuitive, maybe, than other... than Genshin's elemental reaction system, but it's also precisely why I would say the reaction system is so much more interesting, that it's not just a matter of use this type of character against this enemy, it's various kinds of synergies, which are not just use character against X enemy. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it being on the smaller side. I have a very big family on my dad's side, which has its upsides and downsides. There isn't really a right or wrong way. Either way... Honey and Eli, I know that this is... I can do something with the birds here for a... Oh, we investigate the fish. What are you doing now? Oh, that's a ton of fish. Pania, we don't move. Big Burrow Blondie. Those are bait to attract flow current birds. Attract flow current birds. Yeah, Eli and are waiting for the flow current birds to return to shore. Not much to do right now anyway. Roo, alright, come on, Eli. You're a good kid, aren't you? Now be patient. There's no need to rush. Can't see them. Just see the fish. Roo. Anyway, original plan. Oh, fair. Yeah, if people aren't nearby geographically, it can be hard to arrange, but pretty much all of us live in the same geographic area, which means that people have gotten older as of late, so it's become less common, but we still do have a decent amount of big family gatherings each year. I'm down here to play. I mean, no one else usually comes down here other than Uncle Rongo, the guy running that training course. So this is our stupid secret base or something like that, but we didn't think that these birds would still march on us today, and that's why I've got all this fish ready to lure them over with. Flow-current birds love this stuff. Really, they don't seem all that attracted by it. I see. So Paimon is in fact a subspecies of flow-current bird. How will she react? Kind of like a roly-poly and found a fish. I can see where you're coming from. She didn't even respond. What? No. Okay, now she did. Anyway, back to the point. You haven't lured any flow-current birds over at all. Yeah, it could be that we're too far away and they can't smell the fish. If only we could get them ashore somehow. If Uncle Rongo was here, he'd say something like, just boof them all ashore. Why don't you? Why don't have the rough strength for that? Oh, they'd both away instead, I bet. So we have to use Mualani or Kaholasaur to actively move them. Right, patience, patience. All we gotta do is wait for the flow-current birds to come ashore. Let's try booping those flow-current birds ashore, shall we? Yeah, that... I have some family in California, where I used to live. And some family on the East Coast over in Boston, actually, but most of us are in the Midwest. Oh, okay, so... this is tough. Yeah, I knew it. No such thing as a flow-current bird that doesn't like fish, and there's only 2 left. I will say, the Midwest is not a perfect place, but it's rather inexpensive to live in. And that's nice. Yeah, like that, nearly done now. If we can just manage to lure the last one onto the shore. So how are we going to get you out of the tube? Okay, we just have to bump you enough. Accumulate enough momentum. This is complicated. Sort of hit and turn. And here we are. Kinda. Is that it? That it? That must be the last of them, right? Now the Kaholasaur is doing Kaholasaur things. Out of the water with you now. I used to live in San Francisco, which, it's an interesting enough place, but it's very expensive and it's only gotten worse. It's part of why we don't live there anymore. To the point that my dad was always working. I was a lot younger. My dad was always working, so I didn't get to see him as often as I would have liked. And it's just... You always had to just be running to stay on top of the ball, you know? You didn't have a lot of time to relax. You just had to make a lot of money just to continue living there. And not even doing anything, just being able to live in San Francisco. Thank you, the birds have been attracted by the fish and you want, I can go play now. Yeah. The one thing I really do miss about San Francisco is that the temperature was always nice. It never got too hot and it never got too cold. Mainly because it was right by the ocean. It was not really a place with a lot of beaches that were good to really, do beach things on. But the effect on temperature of all the nearby water was welcomed. Meanwhile, I can go play now. It's glad I could help. Paimon seems to have been attracted by the fish as well. It's not Paimon will never be attracted to ingredients that haven't yet been cooked into a delicious dish yet. Yep, absolutely not. No way. See you around then. If you got time, feel free to swing by and play, alright? As in, do you like fog or dislike fog? I would say that in the right situation, fog can be very, very beautiful. What I do find funny is... Yeah, I like fog a lot. What I do find funny is how many video games, or just things in general, use settings that are very plainly just sort of San Francisco with the serial numbers filed off. Oh, yeah. Well, it's a bit like Hawaii. It's just... Beautiful places are going to get expensive because of simple supply and demand. People are going to like it and they're going to move there. It's a shame, but... My mom's side of the family is actually from Hawaii originally. And we used to visit every now and then because it's a lot more affordable when you can stay with family. We didn't have to stay in hotels, which is where most of the cost comes from. But it still wasn't cheap. And everything there basically has to be shipped, especially gas. So it's just really, really expensive for a lot of reasons. Really, really pretty though, incredibly beautiful. What should we play today? Perhaps let's train with you, Eli. How aren't you feeling perky? Let's start a training and booping 3 flow-current birds flying at once, shall we? Exclamation mark, question mark. Huh? Kidding. So we're going to need more exercise. Okay. Just think about this. Yeah, again, if anyone has any interest and haven't gotten there. Yeah. I was very, very young when I was there, so I didn't really get to experience the woods. We only really went hiking or doing stuff in the wilderness a couple of times. It was mainly I think it was it was a Cub Scouts thing for me mostly. But it was very, very pretty. I think I would like to go back and visit one day just to see all the nature, but gathering up the funds to do it might be a little less easy than I'd like. Oh, so these Animo slimes are gonna... Interesting. Okay. Presumably, things will wake up once we've got the Animo slimes going. Yep, that is exactly how that happened. Cool. Okay, and let's get you. And no Hydro on there, that's okay. Not as much time to take advantage of the vulnerability period as I would like. It's a bit tough. And here we are. Okay. The burning actually caused some issues because it consumed that Pyro with the Dendro eventually and missed one vaporize on Mualani. Oops. So Mualani's good for fights compared to Kinich on this team. Mualani's good against large groups of weak enemies and fights with one single big enemy, but Kinich is good for groups of multiple kind of medium-ish enemies. Okay. Thank you. Go for it like this. And the beam actually did not do as much lingering damage as I would have expected. Maybe it was just my positioning. Alright. This is just gonna lead up top. Nothing all that special. Okay. How much more we got in Toyac? We got still 53. That's okay. Oh, and now we can jump onto the other one. Not exactly high stakes. If I fall off, it's not like anything bad would really happen. So who is over here? Okay, just big ol' slimes. That's okay. 1, 2, and... Oh, you're here too. I was not expecting that. Well, alright. That might be tough. Because I am not going to be getting vaporizes on you. Well, we can... And it doesn't seem like sacrificial proc. That is also quite unpleasant. Yeah, my family moved out in... Can I break that? No, we can't break it. That's a shame. Well, long death has passed. I can just use Mualani for this. My family, we moved out in 2010. In part due to the recession. And it has definitely only gotten more expensive again since we left. And I have not really been back since. We'd occasionally pass through for airplane flights or something, but that is not the same as actually going to the place. Oh, and here we are. And it sends us up almost all the way. Let's go for the Night Soul transmission, just be... Oh my goodness, you can sit up here. That's fun. Well, okay. There we go. It's crazy that you can sit up here. There was one rock you could sit on that would spawn in a chest. Doesn't really seem like it here. So looking at the size of the volcano, I think it's going to be 2 areas probably. Just looking at Toyac, I don't know though. Given how big Oshkanalan is on the map, I could easily see it being just one area and then maybe having something underground. Yeah, I do too. But again, it's kind of a cost question, and also just a matter of finding the time off and figuring out specific things to do. Because with any kind of place to visit, especially more expensive places, ideally you'd have someone you'd be visiting in part, so you could just ideally crash there and not have to worry about paying for lodging. Oh, interesting. Took us off the Spirit Way. Okay. Will this take me anywhere meaningful? Does not seem to be the case. Interesting how many Spirit Ways there are here for not much of a reason. Well, and this is... No, you activate anyway. For a second, I thought you would only activate with... Oh, goodness. I did not have enough that time. Okay. Thank you. This is fine. And one more hit should do it. There we are. It is interesting that they are Pyro enemies while the boss version is plainly Electro. It also makes me wonder what boss Yansan is going to use, because Yansan is going to be Electro. She's got an Electro Vision. But Shiwanan and Lanyan and Malvika all use Secret Source, Constructor's Materials, Seabird Nude, help Honey solve the full current bird's problem. Yeah. Okay. Come on, then. Oh, what do you mean by that? Did you accidentally bump into a local legend or something? It's not necessarily such a bad thing. If worst comes to worst, you just run away. Thank you. Where is the next... Okay, there's none of that nearby. Already gone up top here, so let's move around. Oh, okay, well... How's that a bad habit, then? Just means we're getting more chests and Prima Gems and material. Oh, okay, well... Again, I wouldn't call it a bad habit, it's just... In the end, given that you've still got characters you're leveling up, exploring is a good source of materials. Maybe not Prima Gems, but you get a good amount of experience books, some talent books, weapon experience. It's a good way to get stuff. I probably do a bit of healing. So where are you again in Fontaine Main Quest? I still contend that Fontaine had the best opening, but definitely lost a bit of steam. As a result, I'm very interested to see where Notlan ends up, story-wise. Because it had a really good middle part, which I did not despise Fortress of Meripede, but I think it's pretty undeniable that it was kind of weaker compared to the intro. Although, of course, it's really, really tough to beat Fontaine's introduction with its multiple court cases and... As in... 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Which act of the main quest? Okay, and then... Shrine of Depths is right over there. Okay. What else is going to be this way? We got a challenge somewhere. A few more of you to fight. Oh, we gotta drain this in order to get the chest at the bottom. That's right. There are multiple Monitu doing Monitu things. Oh, nice. Which one? I will say, and I've mentioned this before, it's very plain that the Narcissan Court stuff is sort of an evolution of Aranyaka, in that it is, if you take it all as one quest, which in a way it kind of is, because it all converges in the fight with Narcissan Croits. It's about as long, if not longer, than Aranyaka, but the fact that they don't all start with one single quest and then branch out, you can discover them in different orders and do them in different orders, makes it a lot more manageable than it would be otherwise. Oh, and not one quest. Oh, interesting. Is it Oshka Notlan, or is it... That's fair. Now we can get that Monitu out. Yeah, I'm not... Oh, it's in... Teska Tepetongo or Oshka Notlan? Because I know that in Teska Tepetongo, if you sit on a chair that has a viewpoint icon, the graffiti will start talking to you, and that can... Career system of sort and dispatch. That will start... Not actually a quest, but a new objective. But other way, Navi, if you've... I've probably mentioned this before, and I don't want to be annoying about it, but... There is a fan community Discord where we post schedules and chat if you're interested in keeping track of our forthcoming activities, including things that... Tomorrow I'm actually going to be trying to play Lego Fortnite with a number of viewers, which is basically Minecraft with Dark Souls combat. And if you have any interest in watching or participating, keep an eye out. Thank you, and let's make this happen. Oh, okay, so you're in Fortress, you're in Fortress. So you've met Rethesli? It's exciting. Well, glad to get you on board. Glad to get you on board. So now we can fly up and get you, but... Oh, the question is... Where's that hook? Oh, it's stuck in... It's stuck in the air current. So if we put it on here, we can probably redirect the flow. And... Oh, no, we move it to block the air current. And now the Monitu's free. That's how that works. I will say... The Monitu are a little faster than the Sealy. But their walking animation, as cute as it is, almost makes them seem a bit slower. It's kind of funny like that. Okay, the one challenge left is probably... Oh, Monitu will guide you home. I was thinking maybe 2 might make the common chest available, but no, you just get the common chest and the luxurious once you've got all 3. All 3 do Monitu and complete the graffiti in the basin of Unnumbered Flames, Tecumacon Valley, Coatepec Mountain, Toyac Springs. So the only one we can still do right now is this patch is offerings to the night. Well, maybe we could get... Oh, we could maybe do the Shrines of Depths, but that would require doing offerings to the tablet and putting Pyroculi in the statues, and I don't want to do that until I have the maximum available of this version, which probably won't happen until next version. Yeah. Because whenever I was in Fontaine, I would immediately submit all of the silvers I had available to get it up to max in each version. 20 for the first, then 30, then 40, then max at 50. But, as of right now, okay, and Mualani can't do this, clearly. So that means, moving on to you... But the interesting thing about... I was mentioning before how I was thinking maybe we might get some kind of guild or city reputation in... Oh, and that geyser... What's out the Monitu? Fun. Because when we talked to Liben in Marvelous Merchandise, he mentions a port city of Nodecry with a bunch of merchants and a Voynich guild, which... The word Voynich is reminiscent of the Voynich manuscript, which you may have heard of. Which was basically a sort of humorous book with a completely invented language and a bunch of silly drawings made by some Renaissance scholars that people tried to decipher for years before realizing that, oh, this is literally just a prank played on people trying to decipher it, and we got clowned on by Renaissance scholars. But... Voynich... Other than the manuscript, I'm not sure it has any other... What that name has any other connotations with? Voynich. But like I said, the presence of a guild, the presence of a city that seems to be pretty independent makes me think they might do a tribal reputation type thing in Snezhnaya now that they've tried it here. Okay, it's named after Wilfrid Voynich, a Polish book dealer, so it's just named that because it's named after Poland, more or less. Because Snezhnaya is not just Russia, it's Eastern Europe in general. Which is interesting. I just remember that they... Some kind of dumpling, potato dumpling. Forgetting so many things. Potato dumpling, potato dumpling. I just remember that in Desert of Hadramaveth with a jet quest. Potato dumpling. Mentioned... No, Polish potato dumpling. Polish... Not kopitka. Polish dumpling. Pierogies. They mentioned pierogies. One of the guys in Desert of Hadramaveth mentions pierogies. During the quest where you track down a bunch of Fatui near the end of Jet's questline. Which was one of the first indications to people that yes, Snezhnaya is not just Russia, it's Eastern Europe in general. Which, again, and also arguably Italian because of the Harbingers being named after Commedia dell'arte, but then you also have... Oh, Fontaine having the literal Mafia, albeit good guy version of the Mafia, and also lasagna as one of their craftable foods. So probably maybe it's not actually Italy, but just has the Harbinger names being Italian for reasons. And to be fair, even though the Chinese version does also just have a lot of names go kind of untranslated or be rendered in more native terminology. Because there are a lot of sort of the idea of which translation is primary is weirdly vague. Because in I believe it was the My Son Gardiennage, or some Fontanian term that is rendered as a French word only in English, not even in the Japanese. Because the English is based off of the Japanese, and the Japanese is based off of the Chinese script-wise. And there are a number of words that are, in terms lore-wise, that reveal some aspects of lore that aren't really noted in the Japanese and Chinese versions. For example, Irminsul in Japanese and Chinese is just named the Silver White Tree, but rather literally. But the name Irminsul sort of hinted at the fact that the king of Conry was King Irmin, who is another name for Odin. Oh, yeah, I've been wearing contacts for years, and one of the unstated benefits of contacts is actually it protects you from onions making you cry. Because it covers up a bit of the eye and prevents the onion volatile compounds from getting inside to some extent. Yeah, it's really, really interesting, but another thing about it is just that promotional materials in Fontaine would sometimes use the English version of the term, even though the Chinese and the Japanese would not have a French language version, and they would still end up using the version used in English. I know I've seen some of the ZZZ trailers, and they've had English language music. Though to be fair, I think it is kind of arguable that it's a game more focused towards the Japanese and English market than the Chinese market, honestly, for a number of reasons. But even still. But as I was saying, okay, we've done these southern islands. You know what? I'm gonna go in the lava river right now. I'm gonna go and check out that lava river right now. Let's go down in here. There are a number of chests I need to grab. Oh, Thai. Okay. Thailand's cool. Every day I thank the Thai people and the Vietnamese people for giving the world pho. Because as someone who likes noodles, but is not Thai, I have to admit that Thailand and Vietnam have pretty much everyone beat in terms of noodle soups. Yeah. I visited my old college a few months ago for a big choir reunion, which let me meet a bunch of underclassmen. And there was a guy there who was Vietnamese. And basically I was like, oh yeah, I'm Asian too, I'm Japanese. I did political science, economics, and theology, actually. The last one I picked up kind of on a whim because I had a lot of schedule space. It was kind of, you know, let's study something interesting and different for once. And there was a lot of interesting philosophy and sort of, ethical study in that too, which was really, really interesting. You definitely get a different perspective on religion if you study it in an academic sense, for better or worse. No left at the camp. A lot of information once contained with it. But basically I met a member of my choir who was a lot younger than me because he had joined after I'd already graduated, and yeah. But when you find it, it is good. There are a number of Thai restaurants, not Vietnamese restaurants though, where I am, because if I recall correctly, I remember reading some time ago that the Thai government literally funds people from Thailand to go out, move to other countries like America, and start Thai restaurants with the help of their funding so that people get a better opinion of Thailand by eating their food. And it works. It works. It really does work. But basically I said, okay, oh, I'm Asian too, I'm Japanese, what's your flavor? And he was like, oh, I'm Thai. And I said in a very silly and self-aware way, okay, Thank you. In that case, I'm going to thank you in a vaguely insensitive and weird way for inventing pho, even though it wasn't technically you. And he was like, yeah, thank you. And we all had a good laugh about it. It was it was the kind of stupid humor that really only comes around when I'm around the other choir guys. Some years ago, there's a really fun board game / card game called Codenames, which you may or may not have heard of. Basically, it's a matter of you try to sort of... There's a list of words, and you have to sort of get another team member to guess words by sort of... You get to say one word to try to tie two words together. So, for example, you try to get your teammate to guess hat, shirt, and pants, and you say the word clothes. Obviously, it's a much more different than that. But basically, the other guy on my team was, like me, a half-Asian guy. And I mentioned as a joke, back when I was in high school, there was another Asian student in one of my class, and as a joke, we would say Asian sensation, and then do this stupid, stereotypical sort of bow at each other. And I brought that up, and so every time we'd win a point, we would fist bump and say Asian sensation. And then after a few rounds of that, I said, okay, wait, but we're half Asian, so I have to do a half fist bump. So we curled a couple of our fingers back, so we were only doing a 2-fingered fist bump instead of a 4-fingered fist bump. It was... The stupid shenanigans that we got up to there was... Oh my goodness. I miss those guys. I really miss those guys. A note left at the camp. A lot of information was contained within these simple notes. Most of it has been scratched out. Grind the cores of 100 ember core flowers and swallow them in a single gulp. It didn't work, just hurt my teeth. It was so sweet. Seriously, how did people in the past get the idea that it could never mind, let's try some other way? What are they trying to do? Like the mottled shells of the claws that fell from Iktomi swords during their growth period as whelps. That's the Nightwind guys. Grind them to a powder and apply it to your body. If that would work, I'd be an Archon. That's just dead skin, isn't it? Tried it anyway. Didn't work as expected. Powder left a weird smell that took forever to wash off too. Come on, ancestors, can you come through for me at least once? And I think this is the gal who we did a quest with nearby, who was trying to be able to use Phlogiston, even though she hadn't been born with the ability. Mercer, well, also heal wounds, because this was a panacea. What boss is it? Do you need any help? I'd be more than happy to join over and help. Immerse yourself in the people of the Springs Hot Springs once every 10 nights. Do this 10 times and all your wounds shall be healed. Well, I have heard that their hot springs are Phlogiston rich, so it could work. Oh, you want to fight the new... You want to fight the Tenebrous Mimesis? I mean, Tenebrous... What's its name? Well, I've heard their hot springs are Phlogiston rich, so it could work at Nope, and if you look closely, this woven scroll once belonged to the people of the springs anyway. Did I just fall for a fake out of theirs? Only so my wallet was hurt in the end. In the most ancient trial, or so the legends hold. This was how Shabalake first and greatest learned the art of controlling flames. The Sage of the Stolen Flame, the art of exploiting the sky, which we unlocked as part of the quest. Well, that looks like that's the only thing left to try, right? Tenebrous Papilla. Whatever desperate times calls for desperate measures, and I'm here in people of the Springs lands anyway. Might as well give it a spot, so that's what was going on here. Get one of those, another Radiant Spin Crystal. Yeah, if you want to get some help fighting the Papilla, I would be more than happy to render it. Fought it a bunch of times with Chaska, and Chaska is arguably the best suited. It's kind of a toss-up between her and Keeneach, because burning works well. Oh, one of the Night Soul Trials. I'm excited to see a few more of those. The only one that I've fought so far is Patapo's over here, the one you fight via doing a bunch of healing. I'm excited to see the others, but I don't know how any of the others work yet, really. And if you want tips, I suppose I could tolerate spoilers, maybe. But I'd prefer some level of surprise if at all possible. But it's not as if I try to be rather manageable. I'm not gonna get angry if people spoil me because they need help or something. And here we have... chest here. This is the same music that was in those Saurian ruins with... Oh, the big mural of Shobolanke and... Quetzalcoatl. Well, Waxaquan Ubacan, but... that's actually another mythological name for Quetzalcoatl, so... And one is frankly a lot easier to say and more memorable than the other. So let's use... Mualani, just wipe them all out in one fell swoop. How exciting. 1, 2... Let's go for it. And it's that easy. I did not mean to do that. And, wait, how did I not get the missiles on them. That's really strange. Okay, well, come on. And wait, what? Huh? Oh my goodness. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's definitely a bit interesting that it seems that Mualani being a little clunky is sort of a deliberate tactic to balance her. And it might be a bit overkill, and again, it's why they've spoken about trying to make her a bit easier to use. I think it's definitely meant to be... It was definitely meant for earlier versions in her initial beta where she hard power crept Nuviet before they realized how well that would go over, which is to say, not very well at all. Oh, Koholosaur's right here. This might be a bit tough. Oh, what do you know? Another chest. Surprising amount over here in... Well, at least it floats on the lava. Thank you. And you are strong. And we got that mid-bite. Yeah, we are not actually hitting with the missiles. It's definitely got to be something about the roof in the area. Oh, hey, Cal. Happy Thanksgiving. Good to see you. How are you? What are you going to be eating today? Food, I presume? Oh, but there's a challenge right here. A lot of Pyroculi here that I didn't get the first time around. Let's do this. As in Nuviet, instead of Nuvolette. Well, I try to be accurate. Though, to be fair, a lot of my accuracy is quote-unquote is more or less based off of the Japanese script, which does have a few weaknesses and inaccuracies because there are some syllables that don't really work in... that aren't really present in Japanese. Well, I suppose the proper term would be phonemes. There are some phonemes that are not present in Japanese that are used in the game, but it tends to be pretty accurate. Because, for example, and I don't even know exactly why, they call dia Disha, which, to be honest, might mean it's actually more accurate than saying dia. But the main thing is actually the pronunciation of Tartaglia. Because in Japanese it's Tartaglia, and there is a G there, it's just an exceptionally soft G. But it's still a lot more accurate than how the English version says Tartaglia, with an almost gratingly hard G. I will say, I really do appreciate the various sorts of cultural knowledge and cultural portrayals here. Even though it's not perfect, but it's a good faith effort. And I am rather happy about a number of cultures getting played that often don't. And, you know, a lot of people... Well, one thing people talk about is, okay, a lot of the other nations or various cultures blended together, and then Liyue gets to be just China, and... Well, for one, what do you expect from a studio that is Chinese? And the other thing is just... There aren't a lot of worldwide portrayals of Chinese culture in a positive light in any kind of media, really. Oh, I've heard a lot of good things about the Korean version. Yeah, but to my knowledge, yeah, it's sort of a Tartaglia. That the G is barely present, but it's still there. To have it be a hard G or an absent G, neither is entirely correct. And maybe a very soft G is more accurate, but neither is perfect. You know? Either way, the fact that you get characters like Gaming and the upcoming Lanyan, and all of them are based off of the aesthetics and cultures of various sorts of Chinese minority groups. And in other words, it's showing various angles of culture that often don't get play in media, even Chinese media. You get to see a lot more of it. And the fact that we get a Lantern Rite every year, at least one Liyue character every year, it's very plainly in part meant to sort of show off and be a sort of soft power thing. Oh, nice! So which one was it? I do know that there's Spirit of Dawnstar, there's the Pyro Wibe, whose name I forget, and the Ironbeard guy. Yeah. Yeah, even if there are arguments that some of the other nations suffer due to the leeway focus. There's a reason why they have a leeway focus, and I wouldn't say it's a bad one. It's at least very understandable. And, of course, they're still putting out characters in other regions, and... You know, people will say, why didn't we get more Mondstadt characters? Well, it's because Mondstadt still is the second most, despite not really getting any more characters after launch besides Mika, Yua, and... Of course, Leeway is going to have a bunch. That's just, for better or worse, kind of a given. But, I will say, I think... Oh, Tupio. Oh, that one's interesting. I think... I don't know whether that's the plunge one, and you don't have to say it. But either way, I'm proud of you. Are you gonna go for the other achievements now, too? Yeah. Oh, I actually forgot. What I will say is... The really cool thing about Not is just how hard they've leaned into adding local legends. It's not really endgame content, but challenge content. Oh my goodness. Well, you know, now you know. You know, anything in a Night Soul Totem is going to be a boss. That's the heuristic we use here, but... They have a lot of Night Soul... I mean, a lot of local legend challenges, like the turtle over here. There are a number of big obsidian totems you can find around, which will lead you to fights that are less about damage and more about sort of engaging with a gimmick, and those are fun too. And what's really, really cool is that, and it makes it all the more interesting that they didn't really have any kinds of united achievements for the local legends last time, though to be fair, there weren't enough added perpetually make it make sense, but 3 achievements per for not just beating them, but beating them under special conditions, and a really nice looking name card if you do every single one. This is... And they get pretty crazy. I do like when they add optional challenge content. So these are a different kind of flow current bird. I haven't checked. Can I capture them? Let's see. But optional challenge content that has interesting aspects, but is never necessary, while still making sure that the game itself isn't too hard. As in her own, or is just electro damage in general? Because I do agree that Archons having elemental immunity would be... Oh, okay. Oh, as in the Raiden Shogun boss fight? Well, to be fair, the Raiden Shogun boss fight isn't Raiden, it's the puppet, which... That said, it's not as if they've been entirely perfect about making sure the distinction between the two is obvious and notated. But I just remember how in the initial Raiden fight in Inazuma Archon Quest, Raiden was immune to electro damage totally. Oh, as in an immunity to electrocharge damage from water? That is pretty reasonable. That would be a cool bonus. But it does remind me of how, and I did not mean to do that, in the initial Raiden boss fight in Inazuma Act 2, how A was completely immune to electro damage. And to be fair, some of the explanation I would say for why playable Raiden is not immune is that playable Raiden is not actually A herself, because you're not in the point of view Thymia, it's... You're playing as the puppet, albeit the puppet controlled by A, which is somewhat different. But I think unconditional electrocharge damage immunity could be a reasonable way to make her... give her some kind of utility, especially since Raiden is the only Archon to not really have exploration utility. Because she... One thing that I suppose could have given her exploration utility for Inazuma, the same way that every Archon has had some sort of utility for their specific region, would be, quite frankly, the procs of her EI, the procs of her A, being able to activate on totems and just other objects. And I do understand that it was a deliberate balancing strategy to make it so that there are 3 Pyroculi down here. to make it so that it wouldn't proc on shields or objects, but it definitely does make her stand out. Though I think some of it might have been intended to be, okay, coordinated electro attacks mean that you can activate the electro-coordinated attacks that the electro-granum do, but those aren't really anything special. And again, it feels like an afterthought at best. At absolute best. And it really does make it feel silly when Nahida has... Well, to be fair with Nahida, it's really more a matter of just Dendro's really good and she's the best Dendro applier. The fact that she can mind read everyone's Samaro is cool, but it's not really the same kind of exploration utility because you don't need it for anything, which is kind of important given that it's completely unique to her. It's not as if... It's not a matter of characters sort of mimicking Saurian abilities, it's something entirely unique to her. And then, of course, Furina has both Usia and Numa, and has the fastest application and easiest for both. But, of course, it's not like Numa and Usia are all that important anyway. But the fact that Furina has the best Numa and Usia, arguably, does make me think maybe they should have given Mavica just complete and utter exploration superiority in every kind of way. Though it does make me wonder if a character like Capitana or Xbalanque, even though, for better or worse, and I would say unfortunately, it looks like Xbalanque is going to be in NPC jail either forever until they maybe do some kind of flashback arc. Given the fact that the Traveler's sibling is, well, has a playable form already in just the other version of the Traveler, I think it is a reasonable assumption that a lot of the currently unplayable characters in the past, maybe even Senora, maybe that's how we get Senora, are going to be playable in some kind of flashback arc after we reunite with a sibling. Though, of course, the reason for that is... I'll have to figure out a reason for that. So it's just sort of, okay. Is it just going to be them telling their story of what they were doing while we were looking for them, or... You know, what would our reason be to sort of explore the past like that? It's not like we could change events. Okay, okay. Appreciate it. Well, I actually need to take a quick bathroom break. I will be right back. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your patience. I've returned from hell, aka the bathroom. It's good to be back. Thank you, thank you. Back on screen. Yeah. But it is nice how the lava cave here is pretty darn big. Oh, and it's time to start fishing. On Mayoko Waters, southern side underground, and based on the association's surveys and hypotheses, a liquid phlogiston fishing spot has been confirmed to exist underground the southern side of the Amayoko Waters. This area is off the beaten track and very well concealed, so few fishing rods have ever graced it. For this reason, the abundance of fish here has been preserved for many a long year. When champions who have mastered both sword and rod. Yeah, they've really only gotten better with exploration. What I will say, and this legitimately shocks me, honestly, that the underground exploration, the Saurians, the exploration abilities, and especially the local legends, in a number of ways, not one feels like Inazuma, sort of an Inazuma 2, in the sense of, well, one obvious joke you could make is just that the character gender ratio of release is very disproportionate again, however you feel about that. But also just, Inazuma had good, challenging exploration, though less about the combat and more about the puzzles. I really miss Inazuma's puzzles. Inazuma's puzzles were legitimately challenging at times, to the point that I had to work out a number of them on paper. And I miss that. And of course, a lot of people complained about it, but it was just, if it's that bad, you can literally just look up the solution. As you probably already did with all the other puzzles. It's just... This also means that people like me, who actually want to be challenged by the puzzles and exploration, can do that as well. But also just the focus on war as a primary theme of the Archon quest. Sort of a cool Onesan type Archon. Though arguably A's coolness kind of dissipated after the Archon quest. And quite frankly, I guess the cracks were always showing, given that she was only fighting because it was kind of, frankly... Well, although they did present it rather reliably as well, the reason she tried to pursue eternity, quote-unquote, was because she saw all her friends die. It was literally a trauma response. But I think there are a number of ways in which, kind of in a similar way to, I suppose, how Shadow Generations is not really an apology, but kind of a recapitulation of what Shadow the Hedgehog the game was. Nalan is another maybe attempt at being sort of an Inazuma-type exploration region. There's one thing about Inazuma is that, due to the islands being islands, they felt very different from each other and were able to be very self-contained. It had sort of a theme park approach to exploration, which, given that each region in Nalan is based off a specific element and has very, very differing exploration gimmicks, to a greater extent than Fontaine and Sumeru. Even though they all had fantastical architecture, there was still much more of a through line running between them, or at the very least, the rainforest was internally consistent, the desert was internally consistent. It wasn't every single thing was a massive departure from another, even though they were different enough to be interesting. It was more the dichotomy between... Mavica uses the Secret Source Constructor's boss materials, and she uses the Saurian Warrior Flutes as her skill item, and she uses the Oshka Natwan Purple Balloons as her specialty. That's what you need to pre-farm for her. And I will move on to pre-farming the robot bots relatively soon, but right now I'm focusing on getting Mora because I've gotten Shaska still to 999, but I need to get Aura Wounds there too. Yeah, Withering Purple Bloom. That's what she uses. But as I was saying before, it does kind of make me a little sad that Mavica can't just replace Mualani in terms of swimming, can't just replace Chaska in terms of flight, and cannot interact with the jet set eddies, you know, those ripples that bounce you, can't interact with the phlogiston gas tunnels. Though, it is rather pointedly meant to make sure that she doesn't make them completely obsolete. But what is interesting is that there are some gimmicks that she can't interact with at all. That She can't do anything Signs of the Canopy. She can't get the Flame Granites or the grappling points. But what it does make me think is that, I think I kind of mentioned this before, that there might be a sort of arrangement where some other powerful character, like Shibboleth or Capitano, frankly, probably Capitano, because one of the gimmicks she can't engage with are the graffiti paintings that you can sort of spirit read with the Masters of the Nightwind. And Capitano explicitly worked with the Masters of the Nightwind and has some of their magic. Specifically, he can do soul ferrying. So that would make it make sense for him to have maybe some more of their exploration abilities. Maybe. But, of course, it relies on Capitano being playable, which I'm not a Doom poster too much. It might be a while. It might be until Sneznai. He might have not one gimmicks as a Sneznai cycle character, which would make him kind of silly. But I think it would be rather difficult for them to not release him eventually. Because... And it's important to say this in a way that isn't meant to be derogatory towards anyone, but... The Chinese fan base generally... There are a lot more whales than the Chinese fan base. So, for example, you know, there are people in the English fan base who, even if they only like one gender release of character, they'll say, you know, it's fine that they're not releasing someone in my preferred gender this patch, because it means I get to save for the next time they do. But for, say, the Chinese fan base, for people who care about that kind of thing, they're whaling every patch. They're getting everyone, and they're getting constellations, they're getting the weapons. If someone they're not excited for releases that patch, that doesn't mean they get to save, it means they're deprived of a character and a chance to whale that they wanted, which means that it's very, very different. But what's important to say here is that this is a preface to saying that even they like Capitano a lot, and would almost certainly like him playable and be unhappy if he ended up not being playable. Even the people who are basically quote-unquote 100% waifu players. Which, and I think it's sort of an imperfect heuristic to say that Hoyo only cares about the Chinese fanbase, quote-unquote. But they definitely do care more about them for a number of reasons, including just they spend more. They get more money out of them. But effectively, the chances of Capitano not being playable are rather low, because even people who might be non-inclined to like him, still like him. It would be a very easy win and a very ridiculous fumble. And why is that? What? Oh, they were in the lava. That must be why. Okay. But as I was saying, Capitano not being playable would be surprising. It's really just a question of when is he going to be playable. Oh, we got one little guy right here. Thank you, thank you. And... okay, come on. And we got you. Let's revive Mualani and then have Shield and heal her. Fun. But... Compact Long Table, Courier's Edition. Got our healing going, and we got another bounce point. Leads up to nothing, really. Are there any chests left? There is a Radiant Spin Crystal. And I think that's about it as far as... Yep, there's nothing left. Yeah, I remember seeing that a lot of people were trying to switch their game to Mexico or other areas to take advantage of different Welkin pricing before they realized, and there was basically a bunch of backlash saying, well, if you keep doing that, what's going to happen is they're going to raise the prices there, and you're going to make life worse for people in those actual countries who play the game. And I'm pretty sure that people kind of stopped. I think they might have also found ways to more reliably see what region people were from to avoid that kind of abuse. And what area specifically? Are you talking about Tecumacon? Or... No, in Flower Feather? Well, to be fair, Flower Feather is... Which one? Because it does have 3 regions. Maybe the Quahaquan Cliff? I think that's the cliff. Oh, Oshkanal. Oh, interesting. Just because of all the ruins. I could definitely see it being a bit like Old Mondstadt is in Storm Terror's Lair. I heard a number of direct comparisons to Storm Terror's Lair a while ago, when people were having initial impressions of the area. It's very, very Dark Souls. When you initially go in and the dragon flies across and blows up a bunch of enemies, that is almost directly taken from a number of similar sequences in the Souls games. In particular, it's a lot like... In Demon Souls, in the first level, there's dragons. Dragon that burns things. But in Dark Souls, there's also another dragon that burns down enemies. Basically, it's a thing they do a lot. Dragon that burns a bunch of enemies, but also you, if you're not careful. But of course, this game is a lot more player-friendly, so they don't have it burn you as much. And you said you had a guarantee, right? It's exciting. And you said you were going to go for a weapon too, right? Her weapon is pretty ridiculous. It might be a bit garish, but it is very, very plainly just stupidly good for her. I have thought about going in for it, just because of how strong she is already and how strong it makes her. But at the very same time, it's also a sort of... The game is not incredibly difficult. There is the occasional combat event where there's another metal level that you only really get if you're a whale. But in the end, I don't really have problems with Abyss and Theater. And that's what all the Primagem rewards are gated behind. In the combat events, even the whale-bait combat events, the Primagems are not going to be gated behind beating it at max level. They're not that tone deaf. Nothing nearby, But as I was saying, it still might be nice to have a character who is just a nuke button. If it bothered me enough, I could always just switch out of Mavrika and not use that weapon. I could always just put another weapon on her. She... Well, I don't mean in the sense of big single target damage. I mean just... Mavrika, at least right now, and to be fair, she'll probably get updated somehow in beta. Maybe a nerf, maybe a nerf, maybe even a buff. Hopefully not a buff. A lot of people want her on-field DPS to go down and her off-field to go up. Her off-field capability is a bit like an AoE Dia, but very, very plainly she's... Okay, that's on the ground. She's meant to be played as an on-fielder. And she's a very, very strong on-fielder too. And it's not as if you can't use her as an off-field character, and again, she's a lot easier to use in terms of application than Xiangling and is better app than Dia, but you're supposed to use her as DPS. Well, if you use her off-field, you probably use Cinder City. On-field, it's Obsidian. Just either of the not one artifact sets, depending on whether you're using her on-field or off-field. Yeah, then it's Obsidian. What is really funny is that, arguably, Cinder City is good for Chaska, even on-field. Though it's a bit silly, because what it does let her do is give her a bonus to her own elements by the reaction she herself causes. Yeah, Obsidian for on-field, Cinder City for off-field. But as I was saying, it isn't all that good because Chaska can also just use party members who can carry Cinder City herself. But yeah, if you've got elixirs and want to cash them in for new artifacts, and you want to use her on-field, it really is just Obsidian all the way. It's not all that difficult, I'd say. The big thing is... the enemies in it are the solid avatars of lava. Okay, it doesn't show on here. Solid avatars of lava, which means that you can kill them more easily by just applying a bunch of pyro to them, instead of focusing on damage if your damage is lackluster. But you would probably want to have someone who can do elemental absorption, or at least have off-fielders who can apply more pyro. Like a Zhongwing or a Kaza or a Sucrose, something like that. It's not horrible. But it's not easy. It's a later game artifact domain, and that already makes it tough, especially in comparison, given that they literally nerfed a lot of the earlier game artifact domains to make it easier to catch up. Because I remember the other day I was helping you with the Noblesse domain, and I just thought, oh right, this is the one with 3 Abyss Mages with different shield elements, and that's why it sucks so much. And then I remembered, oh wait, right, they nerfed it, so it's literally just 1 Ruin Guard, even on max difficulty. Because I brought Chaska over, and I was just sort of, oh yeah, I'm using Chaska to break the shields, and then there were no shields, and I got confused, and I said, okay, put it on the max difficulty, and then he said, it is on max difficulty, and then I remembered, oh yeah, they nerfed it. Which, it makes sense. Especially since a lot of early game 1.0 artifact domains were stupidly hard for no good reason. And the most ridiculous one was honestly... Oh, there was one right there. Nothing nearby, it's still just this one. And that's right in this Rite of Depth, so I can't do much there. It was definitely the Crimson Witch / Lava Walker domain. I'm not sure you ever did it. Maybe a little while I was still here. But it was really annoying in that it was a domain where everything had a pyro shield, but the buff was to melt. Which meant that there was really no buff, because using melt to eliminate a pyro shield is a joke that writes itself. And to be fair, it's not like they penalized Hydra. What they penalized was using Electro. If you triggered an overload, it would deal a bunch of damage to you. And it's not like that was good for breaking shields anyway. But if you don't have a lot of characters and you're trying to use overloads for DPS, which... When I first started the game, I basically used Amber or Yanfei. Eventually I moved on to Yanfei to apply Pyro, and then have Lisa basically detonate the Pyro as an overloaded reaction for damage. And it worked pretty well, but it didn't work in that domain, because every time you triggered an overloaded, it would trigger a big shockwave on you and just blow your face up. And also the enemies spawned only 2 at a time, so you couldn't use AoE to make it easier. It was just a complete and utter nightmare, and I do not miss it. I actually don't know what they nerfed it to, as I haven't gone and farmed anything in that domain post-nerf, in large part because I just don't have anyone else who really needs any Crimson Witch pieces, so I don't already have a Crimson Witch set on. Even Gaming has pieces on him, even though they aren't leveled, because Gaming is... At lower con levels, he works best with Marchasse, but I haven't used Gaming in a while either, because he just hasn't really been relevant. But when you get here, when you get a crit rate bonus to a special plunge, Marchasse becomes a lot harder to use, especially because his best weapon is rather indisputably Serpent Spine. So you get a lot of crit rate, and if you have Marchasse on him, it's really easy to overcap. So you actually go back to wanting Crimson Witch. And crit rate, crit damage, and attack percent. She doesn't need defense for anything. So it'd just be pyro damage bonus, crit rate or damage. Well, ideally crit damage, because if she's got Obsidian, she's going to have a lot of crit rate available anyway. And then just in attack sands. Well, actually, sometimes in EM sands, depending on the weapon you're using. But the difference is rarely all that different. And if you're running her solo pyro instead of a melt or vape build, attack's better in general. Oh, and here's the funny thing. I actually didn't bring this up, and it's on Honey Hunter, if you want to just check it, but... She doesn't have elemental energy in a standard sense. She charges up her burst when characters hit with normal attacks, and when Night Soul points are consumed. Meaning that ER actually does nothing for her whatsoever. Not a thing. And one thing that means is that since Shionen consumes all of her Night Soul points when she activates her store samples, she charges up Mavika's Fighting Spirit, which is what it's called, really easily. EM is good for her, but only if you're running a build that uses reactions, which Mavika can be run mono Pyro. It's not a horrible way to run her. It's not like Duelik or Hu Tao where you basically have to use reactions. Especially Hu Tao, who is basically the reaction character for Pyro. So quite frankly, the most general purpose set for her would just be attack Sands, Pyro damage Goblet, crit damage Circlet. You can't really go wrong like that. Although you might have to spend some time getting pieces for her. Okay, let's do this right here. Shikya, right, this is the gal who wanted to heal herself and also get Phlogiston powers. Let's see the young lad with a bright future ahead of him. Actually, this is Mualani. What's up? Journey got you tired enough for a soak in the hot spring? Well, I haven't learned how to use Phlogiston yet, but my back's no longer killing me as much as before, so at least it seems like the healing effect here is better than over at the people of the Springs. Well, I'm still a long way away from achieving my real goal, not having such a bad back, thanks to this hot spring surely counts for about, say, 10%. She was the one we did this quest with, and she is actually from Masters of the Night Wind, I believe. She mentions Iktomi Sores when you talk to her during the quest. So in that case, the only thing really left is a few little islands around here. Oh, wow. It's a difference of 13 or so hours. Well, thank you for watching and thank you for sticking around. It's nice to have you on board. Have a nice rest. I hope your insomnia goes away. But, as I was saying, Mavika does not need energy at all. It's just a matter of not letting characters use Night Soul. But also, I do definitely want to try to get an artifact set and talent levels for Pyro Traveler, too. Pyro Trav is... Good night. The thing about Pyro Traveler is... They have a bunch of special versions of their constellations, which are only active during the 5.3 Trounce domain, it seems. But I've probably mentioned this before. But I think it's somewhat plain that we're going to have a way eventually to activate those special additional effects normally, quote-unquote. Specifically because, oh my goodness. You can unlock Pyro Traveler without completing the Pilgrim's Chronicle. And there's got to be some additional reward for completing it if that isn't what unlocks Pyro Traveler. Well, it actually might be. I don't even know. It might be a matter of you unlock Pyro Traveler for the fight, but not otherwise until you've actually completed the Pilgrim's Chronicle. But that would honestly be a bit overkill, frankly. I don't really see that as being the way it's gonna go. Especially since all the buildup of Pyro Traveler would be stupid if they made you work for it a ridiculous amount and it was still kind of mediocre. That said, it's not bad. It's off-field Pyro that is arguably better than Dia's in some ways, and it's not as good as, say, Mavika's, but it really couldn't have been. That is probably another surfing challenge. Interesting. Okay, come on. This is going to take an eternity and a half. That's okay. Come on. But one thing I can maybe see is it being tied to beating all the Night Soul Totem challenges. Because you can light them up slightly by just... beating them normally without doing the other achievements. But even without that... And they are going far out to sea. Said I should probably do a Night Soul transmission. Oh, come on. Can't sprint here. Thank you. Let's go over and take down those 2 Caholosaurs who went out this way. It is pretty cool how there are migrating saurians. Fair enough. In about an hour, I'm probably going to want to hop off anyway. So that'll be fine. Okay, so once they get far away enough in this direction, they totally stop moving. They sort of spawn back where they initially came from. Interesting. Right. Crits are good, but we're going to stop getting crits once we start rolling on Forgissen, which is annoying. But there's only one more around here. Oh, not at all. Not at all. The way Malvika's kit works is you can either use her tap E to make her do off-field pyro application, and use her hold E to make her hop on the motorcycle and enter a form where she just fights. That's how Malvika works. Oh, but no, this one goes down into... Oh, that's the one that's moving. Right. I think that's the migration path. Yeah, she does. Which is really cool, too. She has an off-field mode and an on-field mode. And both are pretty darn good. How'd that missile miss? Isle. Thank you, and let's go for it. Another thing. And there's the Hydro Wyob, which we'll have to use. Keen each on. That's alright. Thank you. Oh, goodness. Juvenile thing, and... Okay, you're over here. Well, alright. Oh, that one's over there. Interesting. Oh, come on. That transmission's gone. It's the 3rd Caholosaur over there, then. Time to chase it down before it swims too far away and take it out. Do I really need to be killing them all? I really don't. Do I want to? Yes. Especially since we're not killing them, we're making them go dormant into a spirit sconce and ripping out a few of their teeth, which they're a bit like sharks, so getting rid of teeth probably helps them. I'm not coping. I'm not coping. Thank you. Thank you. And the E is lit up, so we can just use it to get our Nightsoul back. Thank you. Okay, and they did get hit. It's moved out of the way while getting hit. Thank you. Taking a bit of damage though. Okay, not a lot of things. That's fine, that's fine. And didn't detect the Wyob. Did I already get the Wyob's chest then? I don't think so. These are broken. Let's just take out the one remaining Caholosaur right there. Then we can move on to things that are more productive in a traditional sense. Yes, Tatwali needs Saurian Fang, so it's good that we're stockpiling a bit. Though it's not like we lose out, given the way the area works. Okay, and that, yeah, just leads into the boss arena. Not that we don't already have a way in. Come on, come on. Thank you. Oh, nice. What are they like? It's just combat, right? Do they have any more quest-like ones? Because I do know that ZZZ is kind of a Honkai 3-2, which, to be fair, Genshin's internal name is actually Honkai 4. Only internally, but still. And as such, it's very, very combat-focused. Oh, okay. Oh, there's a... Oh, right, the VCR, the tape store, right? The record store. Is there actually a shop mode? I think I heard about something that might have been sort of a shop running mode, which... There's some games I've heard of that have shop running mechanics, and to be fair, we've had multiple events here where we run shops. That is true. And they have been fun events. I really enjoyed the potion event from 4.5, I believe. Chori patch. It was really, really good. Because among other things, it... Oh, interesting. Not as many... We did not actually hit you? Interesting. Okay. By the way, we need to get some healing up on here. Thank you. But the potion event was interesting because it was all about that one minigame. That everything in that event was just farm ingredients, sell the potions, make the potions. It was very single-minded in a way that I actually enjoyed. Though it was a bit divisive, I do know that. Okay, thank you. And we'll stay out of the way. Try to get that going, and shoot. When are you going to... Oh, now there's your shield. That's annoying. Annoying. Come on, come on. There are only so many games you can really play at once. It does look interesting, but I would not have the time to play it. And, well, there's your shield. Oops. That's okay. We can just break this down with Kinich. And get a few more blooms in, and that did not work as well this time. Oh well. Yeah, I don't have a lot of great ways to take down these wilds. And again, it definitely doesn't help that Shilan and Dia Kinich Mualani is basically 3/4 of a strong Mualani team and only half of a strong Kinich team. He really, really wants that Bennett. Though to be fair, every attack skiller does, it's just Mualani is not an attack skiller. Fair. Yeah, you don't have to drop a game forever. There's a difference between dropping a game and just taking a break. And I don't really take breaks, but that's because I only ever play 2 games at once maximum. But if you're juggling others, taking a break is reasonable. It's not like you're betraying anything. Right. There's that Shrine of Depths. It's really just the water in here and these remaining islands. Balachko is in here. You know what? I think I'll actually fight Balachko right now. It's a fun fight. I feel like it. See how well Mualani deals. Oh, you're all in water. Well, okay. Yes, we can try some of this still, but it's going to be reactionless for you. Oh well. And that kills pretty well. Oh, but since we're in the cave, we're not getting our missiles off. That sucks. Okay. But since we're on water, it also means we can keep hitting pretty much forever, which is pretty darn good, actually. And maybe get some of the other buffs back. Oh, never mind, never mind. Come on. Oh, and we actually managed to knock you out of your sliding state. That's fun. Cool, cool. There we go. Make this happen. Oh, I hear somebody, but they're up top. Okay. It's different. And that's right, there is a Pyroculus up there, but let's go and fight the agent. Oh, actually, that's right. I could show off the cheese method. Cheese method of beating him. Let's do with this waterfall. Soon as we see you, we'll run right over here. Come on, come on. Oh my goodness. Oh, come on. Ooh. Barely failed that. No, we did it! He drowned! And that's the end of this local legend. That is certainly one way to do it. Yeah. It's not as though I couldn't have beat him normally. Just I've done it a billion times before. Thank you, thank you. Nothing really in here other than the Pyroculus then. Oh, nice! What are you going to use that space for? Anything in particular in mind? Okay, I'm going to get a couple of chips. I'm hungry. For chips. Sec. you had popcorners before? Oh, right. You said you were going to try that one out. I saw that there were some more gameplay videos of it coming out. Yeah. Yep. I hope it's good, but I would not have the time to play it. I will say, that's fun. Well, do you know the character who Clara is based off of? Well, Clara and Svarog are based off of Ilya and Heracles from Fate. And there was actually an interview between one of Fate's writers and one of the story leads from HSR, which kind of set up the HSR Fate collab, where they basically said, Svarog and Clara are based off of Ilya and Berserker, right? And the HSR guy said, yeah, basically. To be fair, Tartaglia, his fighting style is very plainly based off of Archer from Fate, and by extension, kind of Shiro. And we will just drop you into the water. But Ilya is really just the same kind of character as Clara. In a certain sense, there are some differences, because the secret with Ilya is that she's actually non-human, and that explains her appearance. It's a little less straightforward, but there's a lot of very plain inspiration there. But of course, the differences are what keep it from being a straight-up ripoff. Okay. I wonder if and where I'll get another graffiti-marked stone. Still have to complete the graffiti here in Titkak. The Manse of Monatu murals, which is not available yet. Well, it probably got delayed. It wouldn't exactly surprise me. Question is really just, is the delay going to make the game better, or is it just going to make it take longer? Because there is the saying of, a rushed game is, well, a delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is bad forever. That's a saying. That was Miyamoto from Nintendo. Okay. We fought those guys already. We already went through this little area, more or less, when we were going through Kawatapek. But, as I was saying, I do like urban settings for fantasy-type games. Urban fantasy is a lot of fun. It's why I always run it as D&D. But one thing with urban settings is that it can often be kind of difficult for them to be sort of environmentally diverse. Because if it's all just a city as opposed to just being sort of modern, it can be very easy for the areas to start looking kind of samey. Yeah, exactly. We still have a chance of... There's a chance this way that it will be delayed in order to make the game better. But as I was saying, Snezai will almost certainly be some sort of urban, and I'm excited for that. But the question is just, what are its wild environments going to be like? Yeah, exactly. I remember there was some character from Tower of Fantasy that people were kind of joking about, not necessarily in a bad way, but just Mavuka will probably end up like her when they heard, oh, Pyro Orc on motorcycle. But the one thing I did see and that people commented on is that the character to them, the animations lacked a sense of weight. So even though she had a big old motorcycle, she felt kind of flimsy. Because, as you may or may not know, Genshin is hit stop Meaning that when you hit with a melee attack, your character will slow down a bit to give a feeling of weight to the attacks. And it's totally unaffected by attack speed, which means that attack speed buffs are less effective on melee characters than you would think they might be. I would say, to be fair, that's true of any game that's been going on for a while, but Tower of Fantasy isn't even that old, right? It's definitely younger than this game. Alright. Keep on going. So this goes over to Quadapac. Interesting. Oh, fair. Yeah, I remember, I think we talked about how Wuwa copied a number of amusing things from Genshin. The funniest one just being a single Primagem equivalent when you read a tutorial. Okay. Come on, come on. Oh, in another New World quest? Oh my goodness. Well, again, you can just come back later. At least you know where it is now. This is where one of the Phlogiston aphid thing... Oh, okay. In a good way or a bad way? As in, is it a matter of, oh cool, you can stumble on a bunch of new things wherever you go, or is in, oh my goodness, this is overwhelming. But... Oh, fair, fair. Oh, and there's no sort of focused experience mode, so you got stuck in that quest and couldn't get out of it to do main story. Yeah, that sounds a bit annoying for sure. But I think I talked about this before, but one thing I remember hearing about was how pretty much any weapon could be used on any character, but it meant that... Oh. There are characters with similar animations. For example, Bennett and Kai have rather similar attack strings, but they're not identical. And they also just don't really do that anymore. That it was more or less a one-off, and ever since, pretty much every character has had very unique animations. But with Tower of Fantasy, having every character be able to use every weapon meant that a lot of their uniqueness had to suffer as a result. Oh, nice. I remember seeing they added Sparkle and... or Hanabi. I refuse to... I have to call her Hanabi, I'm sorry. And that they made her a lot more interesting and flexible of a character, arguably in HI3 than HSR. Well, they added Sampo as a boss. I remember seeing leaked that after you did that fight, which I think had to be sort of you play Sparkle against Sampo, you had to have Sparkle just kick him right in the butt. And there were a lot of people basically saying, wish that was me. Either because they wanted to have Sparkle kick them, or because they wanted to kick Sampo. Now, if I recall correctly, you may or may not know this, but Sparkle is... You know, and there are obvious Hu Tao comparisons, but more specifically, if I recall correctly, she's based off of Kurumi from Date Alive, which I've never watched it, I just know of it. I have some friends who have, though. Now, you're the gal who is part of that investigations quest at the stadium, Anila. What's you? Did you make a trip out here just to have some fun with me about what happened before? You've reconsidered my invitation, or are you thinking of something else? If you're asking about Humpek, all I can say is that he brought it on himself. Sure, his opponents were in the wrong, but is he really completely blameless? I hope it doesn't sound like I'm kicking him while he's down. Well, for the sake of my reputation, let's keep that between us for now. She's got different dialogue now. I've got other things to take care of, so I'll be going now. Really such a pity. You be careful out there. Tilda. What specifically? The Kurumi thing, or... the fact that she's not particularly fond of the guy who's meant to be her friend. To be fair, all the other people who were meant to be his friends were not particularly fond of him either. Okay, and why are there 3 birds right here? Oh, or the Sparkle Sampo thing? I will say, I would not complain about being the one getting kicked. I would not complain about being the one getting kicked. Okay. Got some rocks over there to break, and after we take out these saurians, we can also just talk to the other saurian over there. I'm not sure. Saurian might have new dialogue. Maybe. No, definitely Anela. And as part of that quest, we also had to do a challenge with each saurian. That was right. Come on. Which, of course, I just did using the characters with similar enough abilities, but... Oh, wow, we got them. Well, we got one of them. No, we got both of them. So what are you going to say? Well, also, we can't move all that quick because, yeah. Not as fast as Mualani, and it's not meant to be. It's a little slower even on water. Ripple not here, me here. Okay, that's the same dialogue as before. Alright. Go get the snacks. And then... guess we will fight... you. Pretty sure we fought you already when we were going through Canopy, but this is reasonable. Come on, come on. Oh! Wrong one. It's like that, and... oh! Longer range than I expected. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. But Malvika's strongest team is going to be Bennett, Shionen, her, and I believe Fiorina. Because she has somewhat slower Pyro application to the point that all her hits that apply Pyro can be vaporized with... well, she can maintain vaporized uptime with just Fiorina's Hydra application, which is slower than Xingqiao's or even Yeon's, but she's not a particularly high application character, which is why you can also run her as Mono Pyro if you like. I might run her as Mono Pyro, maybe. Basically just put her on the same overloaded Reliant team that I do with Arlecchino. Given that in a number of ways, she's just power creeping Arlecchino. Maybe. Maybe. Still only at 75. Kinda shocks me. Well, so we can go around and take out a few more Cahosaurs. This waterfall over here is not all that conspicuous. It seems... oh, there's something down here. There's a monotube. This is basically where it turns into stadium in the basin. Well, let's just get going. Hamayoko. Alright then. I think we can try a bit more, but having to, yeah, attack with Hydro on them is kind of a pain. Again, I wonder if Malvika can attack while she surfs on the motorcycle. It'd certainly be more convenient than this, especially since you'd be able to presumably vaporize the hits too. Come on. Pyroculus over there. What's the next chest? Right, I thought it might show that monotube, but it's actually showing another chest. That said, I should probably let Shionen heal her up. Hello there. Come on, come on. Get over and hit. Thank you. Hit again. Oh, and someone else has joined the fight. Very fun. Cool, cool, cool. Now we can get that back. Good stuff. Get that crit rate and just slowly but surely take them down. Cool. course, it's slightly more difficult, or at least more complicated to get all the wave momentum stacks when you have to hit one enemy instead of hitting all three, and therefore also... Oh, well, that's also a problem. And I definitely should have healed. Come on. And let's... Immediately, that was really poorly timed. Oops. Come on, come on, come on. Well, it's time to go back and actually heal up then. Oops. All the time that's been devoted to just eliminating Cohosaurs with hilariously high Hydra resistance via Mualani because only she can fight on water is amusing. Don't Ever Here was originally one of the challenges from the graffiti event from First Not One patch. And that marking with the food icon I did was marking that spot. But the challenge started to make sure that there wasn't anything that it covered up and closed out of. Again, they have not had any kind of challenge that makes existing things disappear since the initial Inazuma event, but I still feel compelled to always check. Yeah, there's a chest right there. Let us have Kinich deal with you, I suppose. And you can go on water when you're moving, but not when you're shooting. And the Burgeon gotcha. Cool. Let us open this up. It's 76. Where are the remaining chests? I wonder if there's another cave that I just never found. It might be here. I might go. I think I'll go check that out right now. Monitu seems suspicious, and I know there's at least one more cave in Toyac. Hello. And we'll switch to you. Hello, Monitu. You're going up there now. To... what painting? Okay, it's just to get over here. Let's go through the tunnel past the enemies, and I think that might have given me the Saurus Crackers recipe. I know that chest gave some recipe beforehand. Come on, come on. Get in here, get in here. There's a chest, and this is still Toyac. Okay. It's definitely a place I should be checking out then. I take you out. Hello. Come on, come on. 1, 2. And all of you get over here. We will. I wonder if the roof will prevent the missile from landing, and it did not. Very nice. Hit, and already got the chest from this, but we got you taken out another time for the sake of being thorough. Interesting. This is almost where it's going to turn into. Basin of Flames, presumably. But over that way is right. So is there anything in this waterfall? Doesn't seem like it, though we did do stuff with that Monitu. In here? Nope, nope, nope. Alright. Though getting that one chest was nice. Go up top here, see if there's anything. There's one right there. Okay. And didn't do that climb right. Oops. We'll get some back. This is going to be a Whopper flower. No, it's actually just a normal sweet flower. Thank you. Let's jump over. Or fail. And that took me out of surfing. Is this going to be a Whopper flower? It's another sweet flower. This is an avatar of lava right here. There might have been a chest here before. I don't know. Come on. Dodge that. 1, 2, 3. Welcome back. Oh, was that basing the turkey? How'd it go? Come on, come on. Interesting. Guess we can go around on this big, flat portion of land. Oh, I didn't know you had to do it multiple times. What are you using to baste it? This is not Dreamseeker Priest or anything. Thought for a second that might be one of those other journals that makes items appear because we've gotten ores, we've gotten Sunsettias, and we've gotten enemies from that. Well, as in, I'm honestly not all that familiar with turkey basting as a process. What kind of liquid are you using to baste it? What's your basting liquid? Okay, that's actually down over there, so we can link back around after we get that. Sort of swoop over this way, because this is still Toyac. But there are signs of the Canopy people here. Interesting. Alright. Cacahuatls. Come on. Oh, but their Saurian is not actually joining the fight. Interesting. Well, that makes things a bit easier, I suppose. Now you are. Okay, cool. Oh, butter basted. Oh, nice. So you're making a very, very buttery turkey. That's exciting. I wonder how it's going to taste. Well, presumably good. You'd hope. Another, but where is the... How many graffiti marked stones are there, and where are they going to be? Oh, yeah, that would make sense, because the fluid's going to help regulate the temperature on the outside, but keep it warm on the inside. Well, I suppose it would depend on how much it soaks through, right? You know, how much it influences the internal heat of the turkey. Oh, I'm stupid. Yeah, right, exactly. So it is just a matter then of regulating the temperature inside, well, on the outside of the turkey, because the inside is not really turkey. Right, right. Now I see. So what specifically did you use for the stuffing mix? Come on, come on. Take you out. Drop down and get that Oculus. Hello there. Surprising amount over here, frankly. Hello, hello. Probably gonna need a bit of healing eventually. Come on, and that took them both out. Thank you, and that took you out. Mualani's fun. Breadcrumbs. So how dehydrated does the onion and celery get? That's almost a mirepoix. You just need some carrot. I used to make a lot of... Oh. A lot of noodle soups for myself, and I generally just... A lot of the flavor would come from just celery, carrot, onion. Which is basically the... most of the Cajun Holy Trinity. Though I think it's either carrot or celery that they replace with bell pepper. Because, of course, Cajun cooking is American and African influenced French cooking in the end. Yeah. So, do you eat it together, or do you... When you get a slice of the turkey, Do you try to get some of the stuffing on or in the slicer? Because I've never had a truly stuffed turkey. There's been stuffing on the side, but it's always been an afterthought. It's never been in the turkey itself. Okay. It's got one of you. Okay. Alright. It's done already. Not much more. Not enough for another shot. Okay. But again, it's... Toyac is not too big. Oh, okay. So it's... Really more it's cooked in the turkey. So I presume it gets a good amount of the juices, right? Come on. That it ends up getting a bit of meaty flavor to it. Yeah, that is smart. Sort of a gravy-like principle. And, okay, we gotcha. The missile did proc. Anything else over here? This one is a challenge, and... Oh, it's over there. This is... Still need to get that Oculus. Let's make that happen. How do I... What I can do, I can go down here and then just grapple my way out. Thank you. It is interesting that Chaska cannot activate her flight when she's already in the air. Well, without Night Soul transmission. Meaning that Kinichi does have a sort of safety line that she doesn't have. Probably not. There hasn't been any mention of any kind of Christmas equivalent holiday. I guess maybe the closest approximation would be something from Fontaine or maybe Venti. Uviette with a beard. 40 seconds. And that is a sigil-oriented challenge. Grapple-oriented, and... Okay, we didn't miss any, that's good. Where will this take me? There's another... Animo slime up there. Oh, what are you up to? Apila. Oh, this way. Oh, you're Flower Feather Clan. There's no wind at the moment. When we'll pick up again. You there? Oh, nice to meet you. That's a bit curt. Are you waiting for someone? No, I'm waiting for my Saurian. They're my trusty partner. That's exciting. Yeah. Next time we talk after today, make sure to tell me how it ended up. We've known each other since we were very little and pretty much grew up together according to the elders in the tribe. Our birthdays are separated by just one day, and they learned everything a lot faster when we were little too. At one point, I was worried that they'd leave me behind since they learned how to fly so much faster than me. And how would she fly without them? I was well, though, for I soon caught up. It wasn't long before we went on our first flight together. And I decided to name them the Twilight of that day. Sorry, I just started rambling. I just love them so much. I can never shut up when I start talking about them. It's my bad. Seal. Ah, yeah. That's definitely a fair way to do it. For our family, it's just a matter of everyone needs to bring something. Oh, we got more sigils by destroying the Animo Slime. It's interesting that it was a real Animo Slime instead of a... No, that was Hydra, actually. Hydra Slime. What's really funny is that they actually forgot to ask us for anything this year. But my dad makes really good pies. So whenever he gets asked to bring something, they always ask him for a pie. Always ask him for a pie. And so he's just making them because he presumes that, you know, he could just, if he cared about it, and, well, cared about being lazy, just not bring anything. But he doesn't want to do that. And he's basically sort of, well, people expect me to bring a pie, so that's what I'll do. He's a very principled person, I would say. A lesser man than he would take full advantage of not being asked to bring anything. Well, as in, that they probably forgot to ask him to bring something. 1, 2... He is making, I believe he's making a pecan pie. He's actually not big on pumpkin pies. And pumpkin pies aren't bad, but I will say, they may be a little overrated. I think and I say this as someone who actually likes good taste. I say this as someone who actually likes gourds and squashes like pumpkin. That the flavor of pumpkin pie is the pumpkin pie spice. That pumpkin pie is not really meant to taste like pumpkin. It uses pumpkin because pumpkin is and was available when it first became a thing, and now it's just the tradition, but the focus of the pie is not the pumpkin, for better or worse. Either way, not that much left, and is there anything up top there? It seems to just be this Mora rock. Let me see. Getting close to the actual settlement. Oh, Christmas ham. I like a good Christmas ham. Honey baked or just normal? This is where... Oh, lots of ores in here. Okay. Honey baked ham is kind of a balancing act, at least for me. Because I personally am not huge on foods with a lot of added sugar. But butter's good. Butter is always good. But it's very easy for a honey baked ham to just be way too sweet for me. Oh, now you're talking. Now you're talking. Yeah. My dad and I are both very big on cloves. He made a pork chop a few days ago. I mean, I think it was a pork loin, actually. He made a pork loin that he put a big spice rub on. And it was very clove heavy to the point that he kind of thought it could have dealt with a fewer cloves, but honestly, better too many cloves than too few. It's just got a very, very unique flavor. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean. Okay. I do find it interesting that there was just a random Yunkasaur right there. In the right amount, it's a bit like salt and to a lesser extent sugar. That if you use the right amount of it, it will draw out and emphasize the flavors that are already there. But it is also easier than it would hopefully be to just drown things out if you add too much. Especially since cloves are very unique flavor-wise. It's spicy in a way that isn't like peppers, isn't like ginger, isn't like peppercorns. It's very, very unique, which means anytime you use it, you do want to make sure it stands out to an extent, but also in a way that doesn't ruin the dish. You have not. You could... It would go well in the other games part of the Discord, I'd say. Maybe I should just make a channel that's exclusively for just other Hoyo games, considering that a lot of people do play them too. But I know you said you liked Yunli and Clara, in addition to other characters. Who would you say your best character is then? I know that... And yeah, the map is... We're going over that border. Oh, I don't. What I've said is that I might try to get into it, because they're briefly just to play the Fate collab event. Yeah, that is really funny, because both of them are some of the more sort of Fate-inspired characters in that game. Because Clara is inspired by Ilya, and Yunli's attack, Yunli's super, I don't know what they're called actually, is pretty similar to Saber's Excalibur, which you might know about. You probably know about. Oh, and right here is that other little hot spring. Still nothing nearby. It is going to be interesting to see what characters actually get added with the collab event. Because at the end of the trailer, the voice we hear is that of Archer. Which you may not be familiar with already. It's Suabe Junichi. But, as I was saying, the other characters we might get. The obvious one is probably Saber and maybe Rin. But Shiro might have a decent chance too. The one thing I hear about is, especially in light of the fact that Yunli basically has Excalibur, that it might be less a matter of new characters as much as, well, at least not just new characters, but maybe also special skins for existing characters, which is the way a number of collabs in similar kinds of games have worked in the past. But even still. Either way, I'm definitely going to want to at least watch it when it comes out. Watch a video, just see how it is. Because I remember reading that a lot of effort was put into making the Evangelion collaboration that Honkai 3rd did really good and interesting, and especially for people who were mainly familiar with the original work. It's worth it, I'd say. I can't imagine they'll make the characters bad. I can say that much. But it does depend on how many of them are rollable and how many of them might be welfares. I have heard people kind of speak badly about it. Hey, there's one over there. The area is small, but it does mean that not having maxed out progress feels weirder. I'm excited. My question is just, what am I going to do? How am I going to celebrate? I've said things about doing some kind of karaoke before. Because I wanted to be a karaoke, but I couldn't get the music tracks to work. I wanted to do a Christmas karaoke last year, that ended up just being a cappella. Maybe I could get my keyboard working or something and try to play along with my singing. Or I could just do some other kind of karaoke. Because I have mentioned the idea of doing some kind of early 2000s alt-rock / emo / new metal karaoke or something. Given that a number of people here, I'd say that everyone here at least knows Linkin Park. Maybe not likes, but at least knows. I don't know. But have I asked you about your taste in music before? Because one genre of music that I really personally like, mainly because of, frankly, parental influence, is 80s new wave. Do you know the band Depeche Mode? I really like Depeche Mode. And also, even though it's not exactly the same, yeah, the Smiths aren't new wave, and they're actually more of a 70s band than an 80s band, but sort of weird kind of sad-ish music from the 70s, late 70s and 80s. That could be a fun option too. But other ideas like a hand cam or something would take a lot of setting up, and frankly, I'd have to move my whole PC setup, and that'd be a nightmare and a half. I don't know. Yeah, eventually I'll figure it out. I'll figure out something to do. It be a matter of getting the music tracks together and getting figure out what songs to do, what the theme is, but I gotta do another sort of singing stream eventually. It's been a whole year and it's one of the few things I actually can do. As I mentioned before, I spent a lot of time back in college just singing was my primary activity. I'd like to think I got decent at it. You never know, though. Thank you. Let's get back over here. I got a little bit after I started my new job, actually. Oh, we got another letter, torn letter. And who is this? A letter with a damaged exterior. You can vaguely make these words on the envelope from Urda. I actually got myself a little electronic drum kit. But besides being busy, one of the reasons that I haven't really been practicing on it to try to learn and then ideally make covers or ideally original music eventually has been... Oh, goodness. The seat that came with it is a little wobbly, and it was put together in a silly way so that it can't actually be secured. Because there's a nut that, well, a washer that was welded on that I'm pretty sure was supposed to be removed so that you could change the position of a bolt in order to attach the seat to its stand. But it's completely unremovable because of how it was placed. Because it was welded on. And it's amusing. Oh, nice. I'll check that in just a second. But eventually I would like to pick up the drums so I can just have everything I need to make some kinds of songs by myself. Cut out the middleman. Got that. Just check. Mega Mighty Boulder Breaker. Ah, we got one of the drills. Let me check that in. See. The free doctor ratio. The free doctor ratio. That 50 and 200. What's a good... Oh, Topaz! I like Topaz's design a lot. White hair is always nice. So what's generally considered to be a good crit ratio? Is it the same where it's sort of 50-100 or... A lot of them are around 200, so is it a bit different in HSR? The way FGO handles criticals is really interesting. Oh, nice. So, did you roll for him after you got him for free? Yeah. Nice. I will say, I can definitely see you enjoying running around as, you know, funny science man character. It... For a while... Oh. For the longest time, I had Wander as part of my commission party, and I will admit, a significant part of it was just basically saying, okay, I am him. This is me. It... Yeah. Oh, okay, did you send, or... I didn't see her when I checked. Yeah, a lot of people... Did you see Lanyan? Lanyan already? 'Cause Lanyan... It seems that they're trying to set up kind of a Yunli Yonking thing with Lanyan and Gaming. Which is fun. Oh, okay. I think I saw. Okay. My brain is falling out of my skull. Right. We got Yunli there. Destruction, yeah. So what is a good crit rate in HSR generally? And so are those their 5-star light cones, or do they have their 5-star light cones, or are those generic equivalents? Because I know that... Oh, nice. Yeah, because it definitely is interesting how they handle weapons differently there. Just because of, yeah, the fact that... You know, they have their weapon, and the light cone doesn't really change anything visually. It certainly means that, for better or worse, they can't really use the appearance of a weapon as well bait. Even as someone who really likes Arlecchino's weapon, both appearance and performance-wise, and enjoys playing Arlecchino, I will admit it is a bit of a scum tactic to have. Yeah. It is interesting how, very plainly, Firefly, and I suppose to a lesser extent Boothill, because he's also Break, if I recall correctly, are meant to work with Harmony Trailblazer's Super Break mechanic. It is very, very interesting. Oh, we actually got the final fragment. Nice. I mean, it definitely works well for the whole gameplay story integration, I will say. But... Well, this might sound a bit funny to you, but a lot of the topics of discussion on the Genshin Leaks forum subreddit is just talking about HSR stuff because they don't think there's a good place to talk about it. And now we can craft their ring. Full ring using 3 of them, though what that will achieve you cannot tell. Azure Obsidian ring. Obsidian ring with engraved patterns styled like those of the people. The springs is an ancient medium by the tribe to establish contact with the deep night. Perhaps its strength can allow you to cross the boundary between this place and a certain other location. Okay. I will open the secret space next time. But generally speaking, I just like to stay informed on things in general. There are plenty of games that I don't play that I like to know about, just because it's sort of my purview. My hobby is more or less chatting about nerd things with people, and the more I know about nerd things, the more I can talk about. And also, it just interests me in general. It seems like a pretty interesting system, honestly. Though, like I've said before, in terms of turn-based games, like, for better or worse, have that space occupied in my life right now by FGO. Yeah, FGO is actually about to... English version is 2 years behind Japanese, which means it's about to get the 7th major chapter in its 2nd arc in English soon. And it involves a really, really crazy battle that... It's honestly a little similar to Imaginarium Theater in that the idea is you have to use most of your roster. It's a big raid boss that you have to take down in stages. And if if your servants die in that fight, you can't use them again in that fight until you won it. So you have to have a real big roster to take it down. Oh! Firefly Ruin? Oh, fair, fair. I think... I remember reading... There were some people talking about how Firefly ending up being Firefly kind of ruined... Oh, that's fun. Sam as a character. And people responding basically saying, you know, that did not eliminate Sam as a character, it just meant that Sam had another side to their character in the same way that it added another side to Firefly's character. You know, it's one thing if you don't like her, but it does not necessarily mean... No, I guess there were people who hoped, for various and sundry reasons, for Sam to be big mecha dude, but besides that, it's not as if the character was gone. You know what I mean? It's an addition of traits, not the removal of traits that already existed. Yeah, and for what it's worth, I think even people who didn't look at Weeks, it's very plain that Firefly, in particular because of the name Sam, is sort of a Samus reference, you know, from Metroid. Have I mentioned before how much I like Metroid? And have I mentioned before how I don't get a lot of chances to talk about how much I like Metroid, because Metroid games come out once every 5 years or something? Metroid. As in Samus. Orange, power armor, woman with a blue outfit, blonde hair inside. Yeah. Very, very good games. Definitely one of my favorites. I do not really feel like doing the challenges again right now, but I will mark them on the map. Right, there's a challenge right there. So there are two of those challenges here. Right, but before I forget, I should go and do that time trial. Hello. Thanks. Yep, that's my name. I actually... The funny thing about it is, have you played or watched Sekiro? I played it eventually on stream, long after I worked everything out. But the funny thing about it is that I eventually realized that I had, without really thinking about it, kind of named myself after some things from Sekiro. Because the final skill tree you get access to is named the Mushin Arts, which actually are honestly kind of mid. Oh, no, it's kanji. I know a few Chinese characters, but only in their Japanese context, which is not all that different, but... You know, I wonder what the Chinese pronunciation of those kanji would be, actually. What was it? The Hanzi pronunciation, because then they wouldn't be kanji, they would be Hanzi. I am not really a person who... I don't think I'd ever get a tattoo. I feel like I would end up regretting it. And I don't like... Well, they're very similar. Because Japanese kanji are literally just repurposed Chinese characters. If I absolutely had to get a tattoo, if it was that or death, and I didn't choose death, I would get a tattoo of just the word kanji. Because, of course, they're characters for just... to indicate the word for Chinese characters. And if anyone ever asked what it was or what it said, I would just say, it's a kanji tattoo. And refuse to say anything else. Because it literally would be a kanji tattoo of the word kanji. Because I like really stupid jokes. Yeah. A couple of my boys actually want to get some kind of Naruto tattoo together. I think I mentioned this before, but back in San Francisco before I moved, I think I told you this story before, that all the other kids, because it was, you know, San Francisco, most of the kids, myself included, were part Asian or something like that, and so there was a lot of Naruto fandom there, and like I said, eventually my parents caught wind and would not let me watch it because it was too violent in their perception, and you know, maybe I could blame that on the fact that I grew up kind of isolated and weird and maladjusted. Though frankly, that's putting way too much stock in one single thing. But
as I was saying, oh, and then my grandparents, you know, Japanese Americans in Hawaii, try to get me some Naruto comics, just sort of cultural immersion, and they got confiscated. And they had no idea that my parents had any problem with it to begin with. It's a very funny story in retrospect. I think my dad might have read them. I just know that they ended up... Oh, bubble here. That they ended up just being kept on my dad's bookshelf. The one thing he did let me read was a bunch of supplement books for lore for Warhammer and War Machine and Hordes, which were some tabletop war games that he liked to play a lot. Which, honestly, I don't know. That might have been more age inappropriate, but who knows. But where did those bubbles go? You know, it's been decades since. It's not like it matters. Okay. Where did the bubbles go? Don't see them over here. Yeah. And it's not as if I'm mad about any of that. It's just a funny story in retrospect now. So what? Do I just go around more on the water, or... Huh. Get the impression that I might have done that wrong. I hope I don't need to wait for a reset. Either way, I'm gonna mark that. I'm sure it's something, eventually. Okay. We are getting closer and closer to max progress. I think I might leave this island and the city itself for next time. What mods are you going for specifically? Do any of mods add new character classes? I'd imagine at least one has to. Seems kind of a no-brainer. There we go, just break that. Fair enough. Surprise me. Surprise me. Okay. Let's just take you down. Gonna fall in the water. Well, what we can do is stay in the water and hit you from here. Very nice, very nice. Cool. That won't break. That won't break. Either way, I'm surprised that 16 or so is left. I know that the area being small means that every chest and every challenge, every Oculus, has a rather disproportionate effect, but even still, it's interesting. Okay. Ah, this has a bunch of Mualani's mats in it. That's fun. Though, of course, it's not like I need them anymore. She's already at 90. Think go over here, and then it's just this little peak, People of the Springs, and then Basin of Unnumbered Flames on Saturday. Should not take long at all. I don't think. Well, I don't think that it'll take long. I do think. It's rather important to think. I'll probably be hopping off in just a couple of minutes so I can get ready to head out and see family. So if this is goodbye, it was nice to chat with you as always. I will see you maybe tomorrow if you hop on the LEGO Fortnite with us. And if not, whenever you decide to show up again. Thank you as usual. And nothing over here. Guess I'll just beat up the enemies real quick. Or not, actually. This is a decent time to hop off. This, and then the basin. Couple of local legends to fight, especially Tri-Stars. That'll be okay, though. And a lot of chatting to do in the stadium. That's also true. Well, we can heal up And switch the party back. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you again, and yeah. Sayonara again.